Okay, hey everyone. We're going to start today by going over more of firefighter and EMT's testimony from the prosecution. We're starting with Firefighter Frank Walsh, and his is very short, and then comes Katie McLaughlin.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name?
Francis Walsh, W-A-L-S-H.
And what do you do for it, sir?
I'm a lieutenant paramedic with the Canton Fire Department.
And how long have you been a firefighter paramedic with the Canton Fire?
Just shy of 10 years.
And you indicated that you have the rank of lieutenant, is that correct?
That's correct.
How long have you been a lieutenant with Canton?
Since September of last year.
Now, with regards to, you have certifications both as an EMT and a paramedic, correct?
That's correct.
And with regard to those certifications, when was it first that you sort of received those?
I received my paramedic certification in June of 2014. That's when I was officially certified.
And is that something that you've been subject to sort of continuing educational components and recertification since then?
Yes. Yeah, every 2 years we have to recertify and take continuing education classes.
And is your certification up to speed at this point?
Yeah, it's current. I just recertified last month, actually.
Now, if I could turn your attention to the evening of January 28th into January 29th, 2022. Do you recall that day?
I do.
And were you working that day with the firefighter?
I was.
And what kind of shift were you working on that occasion?
24-hour shift, which is standard.
And is that 8 a.m. to 8 a.m.?
That's correct.
That, correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be 8 a.m. on the 28th until 8 a.m. on the 29th?
That's correct.
And so where were you assigned to on that particular day?
I was assigned to headquarters, which is on 99 Revere Street, and my position was engine driver.
So fair to say people within your department get different sort of assignments on different apparatus based on the different shift that they're working.
That's correct.
And your assignment that day was the driver of the engine?
Correct, yes, engine 3.
Now, beyond sort of your assignment as the engine driver in that particular shift, what, if any, sort of specialized assignment do you have, or did you have at that time in regards to snow removal? Yeah,
so on that particular shift, I was also the snowplow driver. We have an in-house truck and a snowplow for the fire department, and that was my responsibility on that shift.
How many people within your department have that sort of responsibility when it comes to?
It kind of depends group to group. So some working groups will just kind of rotate and have a different person do it each time. At that time, the group that I was on, I kind of had the most experience plowing, so I was always the go-to person to be in the plow truck when it snowed.
And so with respect to that duty, about what time did you sort of get up on that morning of the 29th?
I believe it was around 4 a.m.
And why was it that you got up at that time?
It was snowing pretty heavily. I mean, we knew the forecast called for a lot of snow. So I got up early and hopped in the plow truck.
And so, just briefly, in addition to the snow, what, if anything else, did you observe as far as the weather conditions when you were out in the plow truck?
It was very windy. Yeah, just windy and really heavy snow.
Now, at some point, shortly after 6 a.m., does your department get dispatched to a call?
Yes.
And where was the dispatch to, and what was it in regard to?
So I didn't hear the actual dispatch because I was in the plow truck. I was in the rear of headquarters in the plow truck. But my Captain Woodbury, came out and told me that we had a call for 34 Fairview Road for an unresponsive male party. And he told me, to hop in the engine and head to that call.
And when you hop in the engine, who, if anyone else from your department, was assigned to the same engine as you on that day?
So I had Lieutenant Woodbury to my right in the passenger seat and Firefighter McLaughlin in the rear.
And beyond the engine that you were driving, what, if any, sort of other apparatus from your department was dispatched to the call that day as well?
So that would have been ambulance 1, and then also car 5 went as well. That's kind of like an optional thing, but with a call of that severity, the captain will go as well.
And who was in car 5 on that day?
Captain Robery.
And you drove the engine, is that correct?
That's correct.
If you could describe for the jury sort of what you observed as far as the road condition, visibility, things of that like en route from the station to Fairview.
Yeah, so it was really, really poor driving conditions and visibility. I can't recall ever driving to a call of that nature and that severity that slowly. The visibility was so poor that we were just driving extremely slow.
And from, if you could describe to the jury sort of the route of travel that you took from Station 1 to Fairview.
Sure. So out of Station 1, take a right onto Revere Street, and then a left onto Sherman Street, a right onto Chapman Street, and then a left onto Fairview.
Now, if you recall, what was sort of the order? You're all sort of dispatched and you're all sort of responding around the same time, being car 5, the ambulance, and the engine, correct?
Correct.
And if you recall, what was sort of the order of the vehicles in response?
So engine 3, we were the last vehicle for the fire department to arrive on scene. So when we arrived on scene, ambulance 1 and car 5 were already on scene.
And if I could ask just sort of, as you're turning onto Fairview Road and you travel down, what, if anything, do you know about sort of the elevation of the roadway as you're driving down there?
It's a downhill grade. Yeah, it gets a little bit steep at one point.
And the residence that you eventually stopped at or responded to, where was that in location in reference to when you first turn on to Fairview? About how far down is the residence that you eventually?
Pretty far down. I believe it's one of the last houses on Fairview.
And the residence that we're talking about is from your perspective when you're driving down there. Is that on your left or right or something else?
Left.
And as you're approaching the scene, what is it sort of that you see before you? As you know, how do you know where to stop and where you're going?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, visibility was really poor, but there was ambulance 1, car 5, at least a couple of police cruisers on scene before us, so it's kind of hard to miss that. So that's how we knew where to stop.
Now, in regard to you're responding to an unresponsive man, correct?
Correct.
And just to be clear, at some point you were able to identify, or you were told what the identity was of that unresponsive male patient, correct?
That's correct.
What was his name?
John O'Keefe.
And so with respect to Mr. O'Keefe, as you're approaching the scene, when was the first time that you were able to sort of see where Mr. O'Keefe was on scene when you arrived?
It wasn't until a little bit after we actually arrived on scene that I could see the patient, because as we pulled up, the ambulance was blocking our line of sight to where the patient was, so we couldn't see him right away.
And what was sort of the I know you talked about visibility, but as far as had the sun come up yet?
No, it was pitch black.
And so when you arrive on scene, what is it that you and sort of the other people on your engine are doing in relation to patient treatment?
So at that point, I got out of the engine and I started walking towards where the ambulance crew was. But at that point, Firefighter McLaughlin was coming around to the rear of the ambulance to get the stretcher out. So I went directly to that to give her a hand with that. And we proceeded to bring that around the front of the ambulance where firefighter Nuttall, Flamati, and Kelly, and I believe Captain Robery were working on the patient.
Now, in reference to where patient Mr. O'Keefe was, where was he? Could you see sort of how in reference to the ground?
I could see they had the other firefighters and captain that I just mentioned had just put him on the backboard at the first time that I saw him. I'd say that was like roughly 10 feet in from the road.
And to that point, how were you able to say that it was approximately 10 feet in from the road?
Just an estimate.
Let me ask you, as far as the stretcher was concerned that you and Firefighter McLaughlin retrieved, where did you place that in relation to where Mr. O'Keefe was when you first arrived?
So we placed that. We decided to leave it on the street and get it as close to the grass or snow as possible. It was unspoken, but we knew that we didn't want to put the stretcher onto the snow because it would be too unstable. So we put it right up against the curb. So right at the edge of the street where the street meets the yard.
And so you put the stretcher basically right up against the curb, and Mr. O'Keefe was approximately 10 feet from that.
That's correct.
And with respect to positioning the stretcher, was that parallel with the curb or perpendicular to it, or how was it?
Parallel.
And you mentioned that obviously Mr. O'Keefe is on scene, and there are a number of different firefighters for your department, correct?
That's correct.
There was at least a police cruiser. Did you see any officers sort of around the scene?
Yes, I remember Officer Saraf and Sergeant Good.
And with respect to civilians, what if any civilians did you observe around the scene?
I observed 2 female civilians.
And where were they in relation to where you were, or in relation to where Mr. O'Keefe was?
I mean, they were pretty worked up, so they were moving around quite a bit. But I'd say they were somewhere in between myself and the stretcher and where Mr. O'Keefe was.
And did you yourself have any conversation with either of the two females that you saw?
I did not directly, no.
And you just testified a little bit before that they were upset. Is this both of them were?
Yes, yes.
And what, if anything, leads you to that sort of conclusion as far as their demeanor? What, if anything, did you specifically observe?
I mean, I observed one of them like screaming and crying, and they were both just frantically like moving around a lot.
As far as the one that you observed screaming or crying, do you recall specifically what, if anything, that person said?
All I recall her saying was, "Is he alive?"
Now, with respect to Mr. O'Keefe, as far as his clothes, what, if any, observations did you make of his clothes?
The notable observation that I made was that he was missing one shoe, his right shoe.
And where was Mr. O'Keefe when you made that observation of missing one shoe?
It was when we put the stretcher into the ambulance. The stretcher lifts up, so it's kind of right at my face, and that's when I noticed it.
So at the time he was being placed in the ambulance, you only had one shoe based on what you saw.
That's correct.
Now, once Mr. O'Keefe is in the back of the ambulance, where did you go?
So I stayed down at the feet. I was positioned right by his right leg.
And what, if any, difference did you know between sort of the lighting conditions outside on the lawn versus the lighting conditions in the back of the ambulance?
In the back of the ambulance, it was dramatically better.
And so once in the back of the ambulance, what, if anything, did you note or observe as far as injuries to Mr. O'Keefe?
I noticed a hematoma on his right eye, and I noticed some blood coming from his nose.
And just to be clear for the record, so when you say hematoma, based on your training experience, can you explain what your understanding of that term is to the jury?
Swelling and bruising.
Now, at some points, with respect to the clothing that Mr. O'Keefe was wearing, what, if anything, did you or other firefighters or paramedics in your department do with reference to Mr. O'Keefe's clothing?
We removed all of his clothing.
And let me first ask, how was that removal sort of accomplished?
Can you repeat that?
When you removed his clothing, how was that? How did you do that?
Oh, with trauma shears, basically scissors that cut clothing.
And once sort of, was that pursuant to some sort of protocol? Or
Yes.
why was the clothing?
On any trauma call, it's protocol to expose the patient so you can see all injuries and you don't miss any injuries.
And once the clothing was removed with trauma shears, what, if any, additional injuries or anything did you observe?
I noticed some scratches and lacerations on his right arm.
Now, in reference to treatment in the back of the ambulance with regard to Mr. O'Keefe, what, if any, sort of role in that did you sort of assume, or were you sort of assigned by the lead paramedic?
Yeah, so I was responsible for the IO drill and access. It's intraosseous access.
Can you explain to the jury sort of what that is and how that's accomplished?
Yeah, so you do that instead of IV access. So when somebody's in cardiac arrest, it's really hard to get an IV. So what you do is you actually drill into a bone, and you can administer medication and fluids like into the bone marrow space.
And so pursuant to, so Mr. O'Keefe was undergoing cardiac arrest, correct?
Correct.
Can you explain your understanding of that term based on your training experience to the jury? What is cardiac arrest?
There's no cardiac function. His heart isn't pumping blood anymore.
And so what, if any, sort of protocols are there as far as medication administration is there in reference to a cardiac arrest?
Yeah, so the frontline medication for that is epinephrine. That's what we gave through the IO access.
What is the purpose of the epinephrine?
Epinephrine, I mean, basically in layman's terms, it gets the heart pumping again, if that's a viable option.
And in addition to the epinephrine, what, if any, other medication was administered through the IO?
I believe that was it. As far as when I was on scene, it was just epinephrine.
Do you recall anything about salines?
Oh yeah, saline as well, but it's not a medication. But yeah, we also administered saline.
What is the purpose of the saline?
Saline is just to increase blood volume.
Now, as far as the transport, Mr. O'Keefe has been taken from scene to a hospital, correct?
Correct.
Did you go along with the ambulance on the transport?
I did not.
So you remained on scene at least for some period of time, correct?
Very briefly, but yes.
And you referenced some officers from the Canton Police Department that were on scene when you were on scene, correct?
Correct.
And without reference to anything said, which of them, if any, did you have any conversation with the fire lead?
Sergeant Good.
And just as far as what you told Sergeant Good, what, if anything, did you relay to him before you left the scene?
I relayed to him that there were signs of trauma in the patient.
And did you give any sort of further explanation as to what signs of trauma did you observe?
Yes, I believe I told him what I told you about the hematoma on the eye and the blood in the nose and the scratches and lacerations on the arm.
So you told Sergeant Good what you just testified to this jury that you observed?
I believe so.
Ms. Gilman, if I could ask for exhibit number 18. Firefighter Walsh, what's up on the screen is exhibit 18. Do you recognize that?
Yes, 34 Fairview Road.
Is that fair, minus whatever the weather conditions are, fair and accurate portrayal of what you observed that day at 34 Fairview?
Yes.
May I approach the witness to approve?
Yes.
And so Firefighter Walsh, if I could ask, using that laser pointer, if you could direct the jury's attention to where within this photograph did you see that you observed Mr. O'Keefe's body when you first arrived?
Right in that general area.
May I have 1 moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right. Cross-examination?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I just want to ask you about the
woman that you saw on scene who appeared to be screaming and crying. Would you agree with me that she stood out to you because she appeared to be the most upset
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes.
and the loudest?
Yes.
She appeared to be crying more than others,
Yes.
and she was screaming, right?
Yes.
And what you heard her say, I understand your testimony, was that she just said, "Is he alive?" Correct?
That's what I recall. Correct.
In a loud voice,
Yes.
in a distraught voice,
Yes.
while she was crying.
Correct.
And nothing further.
There's nothing, Mr. Lally, right?
No.
All right, you are all set, sir. Thank you. Who is your next witness?
All right. That was nice and quick. Katie McLaughlin is next. And from what I'm told, this will be an interesting one. All right. Here we go.
Thank you. You can have a seat. I just need you to speak to that microphone nice and loud.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you please state your name and spell your last name, please?
It's Katie McLaughlin, McLaughlin.
And what do you do for it?
I'm a firefighter paramedic for the town of Canton.
And how long have you been a firefighter paramedic in the county?
Probably about 7 years at this point.
And prior to working for the Canton Fire Department, what, if any, other work did you do sort of within that general field?
I worked as an EMT basic for Brewster Ambulance. Went to paramedic school. I eventually became a paramedic for Brewster Ambulance, and I worked there for a few years before getting on the fire department.
And just briefly, but prior to becoming a paramedic or working as a paramedic, what if any sort of training did you receive in regard, or certification did you receive in regard to being a paramedic?
So it's a 2-year schooling where you have about a year of didactic. There's a lecture portion for about a year, and then after that, there's about a year to a year and a half of clinical training that's done in an ER and then done in an ambulance. So that whole period is around 2 years.
And prior to working in the Canton Fire Department, you received certification from the state or some other sources being a paramedic, correct?
Yes, it's through the state and through a national registry.
And both those certifications to the state and the national registry, are those granted sort of forever, or is there like a continuing educational component in a recertification process?
So you recertify every 2 years. You have to take continuing education classes in that 2-year period. And that's just on a 2-year cycle you recertify.
And your certification is up to date at this point, is that correct?
Yes.
And if I could turn your attention to the dates of January 28th, 2022 into January 29th, 2020. Do you recall those dates?
Yes.
And were you working with the Canton Fire Department on those dates?
Yes.
Do you recall what kind of shift you were working from the 28th to the 29th?
It was just my regular 24-hour shift.
And 24-hour shift in Canton Fire is essentially 8 a.m. to 8 a.m., is that correct?
Correct.
And where were you sort of assigned within the town of Canton Fire Department on that day?
So I was on the engine for that shift. So I was the third person on the engine. There's an engine driver, there's an officer, and then there's a third person who's in the back.
And so your sort of role with respect to the engine, is there sort of like a name for that position?
Some people call it like the backstep.
And which station house were you assigned to on that engine?
The Station 1, which is 99 Revere Street.
And in addition to yourself, who, if anyone else, was assigned to the other sort of roles on the engine?
Frank Walsh was the engine driver that day, and Greg Woodbury was the lieutenant on the engine that day.
Now, turning your attention to that morning of the 29th, do you recall about what time you got up or what time you went outside that day?
I think we were up maybe a little before 6 because it was snowing, and we had to like shovel the front apron. So we were up maybe 5 a.m.
And so when you were up around that time, around 5 a.m. and outside, you were outside shoveling, is that correct?
Yep. Intermittently, yeah.
So during the times that you were outside shoveling, what, if anything, did you observe as far as the weather or conditions at that point?
It was snowing pretty heavily. It had been snowing. We were shoveling, and it was pretty cold and windy.
And if you know around that time that you initially sort of went out for shoveling, about how much snow had accumulated at that point?
I don't know how much. I mean, enough for us to shovel that front apron, but I don't know how much.
Now, sometime shortly after 6 a.m., were you and other members of your department dispatched to a call?
Yes.
And where were you dispatched to, and what was that dispatch result?
So the call came in as a man down in the snow or a man unresponsive in the snow, and the call was 434 Fairview Road.
About how long was it from the time that you sort of received that dispatch and go sort of on the engine to that residence on Fairview Road?
How long? We're on the truck and going probably within a few minutes at most.
And so in addition to yourself and Firefighter Walsh and Lieutenant Woodbury, what, if any, other sort of apparatus from their station was dispatched to this call?
The ambulance was dispatched as well, and I believe the command car 5, also was dispatched to the call.
And as far as car 5, if you recall, who was in car 5?
At the time, Captain Robery.
And with respect to the ambulance, if you know who, if anyone, was assigned to the ambulance and went with the ambulance that day?
Firefighter Kelly and Firefighter Flamati were on that ambulance, and I believe Tim Nuttall was also there. He came in early, and so he jumped on the ambulance as well.
And with respect to when you get to Fairview Road, do you recall what sort of order the vehicles were in as far as car 5 and the ambulance and fire in?
I think car 5 was maybe first, and then the ambulance was in front of us, and then we pulled up behind the ambulance.
And so when you sort of arrive on scene, pull up behind the ambulance, other than vehicles from your department, what, if any, other sort of vehicles did you observe or see on scene that day?
I noticed there were multiple police vehicles and at least one civilian vehicle.
Now, obviously, you're responding to a report of an unresponsive male, correct?
Yes.
And when you're sort of first arriving on scene, or just in reference to when you arrived on scene, when was the first time that you were able to see that unresponsive party?
So when I got out of the engine, I went right back to the ambulance to get the stretcher because I knew that from wherever they were, they seemed to be kind of in off of the road. So I got the stretcher with Firefighter Walsh, I believe, and then we brought the stretcher as close as we could to the patient, and that was like parallel to the curb, and that would be the first time that I observed them working on a patient.
And so if I could just ask you, just with regard to sort of those duties as the backstep person, so what is sort of the duties and responsibilities of the backstep person on the engine to this kind of medical call?
So the role of the person in the back of the engine is it kind of is dependent upon what that lead paramedic needs you to do. You're there to assist the ambulance in any way that they need. So that could be assisting with extrication of a patient. It could be obtaining information about a patient or bystanders. It could be assisting with patient care if they need you in the back of the ambulance. It really depends on what they need you to do for that particular call.
And turning back to your testimony just a moment ago, you said that we're over rendering sort of patient care. Is that correct?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I noted Tim, I noted Tony, and there were a lot of people that seemed to be around that area. So I'm not sure exactly who else was there, but I did note Tony and Tim were in that area.
So as far as sort of the other people in that area where Tony and Tim were, so people sort of beyond people from your department, what, if any, other sort of people did you notice around that area?
I don't know specifically. What do you mean, like
As far as,
outside of the?
right. So outside of fire department personnel in that area, what, if any, observations did you make of those people? Who were those people?
Well, at that point, I couldn't really make out like the identities of like other people. I noted Tim and Tony, but I didn't really pick up on who anyone else was at that point. They were still like in off of the road at that point.
And so from where they're positioned with regard to the patient, and just for clarity purposes, you were subsequently learning the identity of the patient, correct?
Yes.
And who did you learn him?
John O'Keefe.
And where you and Firefighter Walsh were with the stretcher, how far away from where you were was Mr. O'Keefe and the other firefighter?
They were, I don't know that I could give a number, several feet away. They were like, I remember kind of seeing a fire hydrant, but I don't know exactly number-wise what that would be.
And from your observation of where Mr. O'Keefe was, could you tell how his body was positioned?
He was supine, so he was lying on his back or face up.
And what, if anything, by the time that you arrived with Firefighter Walsh on the stretcher, what, if anything, could you see that Firefighters Flamati and Nuttall or anyone else was doing with reference to Mr. O'Keefe?
By that point, it seemed like they'd already got him pretty much secured on a backboard, and they were ready to move him to the stretcher.
And once Mr. O'Keefe is then moved with the backboard from where he was to the stretcher where you are, what happened?
So I remember Tony was kind of at the head of the stretcher. I was standing on the side. There was a woman next to me, and Tony said to me, "Can you try to figure out what happened?" And he kind of motioned to this woman that was next to me.
And so Firefighter Flamati, who's the lead paramedic, directs you to ask questions of this female, correct?
Yes.
And fair to say this woman that was next to you, you didn't know her, you never met her before?
No.
From your conversations with her that day, do you see that woman in the courtroom today?
Yes.
You just direct as to where she's seated or an article of clothing she's wearing? That's record reflect identification identified over time.
Okay.
Now, with respect to this woman, she's standing next to you when you're at the side of the stretcher, correct?
Yes.
And what, if any, observations did you sort of initially make as far as her demeanor, or how was she sort of acting when you first started to engage?
She seemed very upset. Very upset.
And when you say she seemed very upset, what about her did you observe that made you say that?
Just her facial expressions. She was just visibly distraught.
And so, as far as your questions, what type of questions are you asking, or what type of information are you looking for from this person?
So just basic demographic info, who the patient is, his name, his date of birth. And then as far as any more questioning, you're trying to gather information that would basically help explain how this person ended up in the scenario that they're in. So did he have any medical problems? Does he take any medications daily? Does he have any allergies to medications? I was asking those questions.
And as you're asking those questions, what, if anything, is the defendant Ms. Reed doing while you're asking those questions?
She answered who the patient was, his birthday. I think she answered maybe some of those initial medical questions that I asked. But as I said, she's very distraught. She was kind of moving around the scene a little bit. So I was just kind of following her. And then we came to a stop at one point, and I continued to ask one more question.
What was that one more question?
So at that point, I asked her if there had been any significant trauma that happened before this.
What, if anything, did she say?
So she said, I hit him. She repeated it. There was a woman standing across from her who I believe at that point said, you're hysterical. You need to calm down. You're hysterical. She repeated, I hit him. And there was a police officer who was in that vicinity kind of with us who replied, you what? She repeated it one more time.
Unbelievable.
And that officer then signaled to somebody, get Goody down here, which I'm assuming would be the sergeant.
She doesn't even come off as credible in what she just said. Holy shit.
So when you have this conversation, if you recall, you mentioned that the other person who was across from you was this.
How did she say this started? She just
What, if any,
blurted it
observations
out
did
to
you
this
sort of initially
woman.
make as far as her demeanor, or how was she sort of acting when you first started to engage?
She seemed very upset. Very upset.
And when you say she seemed very upset, what about her did you observe that made you say that?
Just her facial expressions. She was just visibly distraught.
And so, as far as your questions, what type of questions are you asking, or what type of information are you looking for from this person?
So just basic demographic info, who the patient is, his name, his date of birth. And then as far as any more questioning, you're trying to gather information that would basically help explain how this person ended up in the scenario that they're in. So did he have any medical problems? Does he take any medications daily? Does he have any allergies to medications? I was asking those questions.
And as you're asking those questions, what, if anything, is the defendant Ms. Reed doing while you're asking those questions?
She answered who the patient was, his birthday. I think she answered maybe some of those initial medical questions that I asked. But as I said, she's very distraught. She was kind of moving around the scene a little bit. So I was just kind of following her.
Wouldn't
And
you
then
be
we came to a stop
distraught?
at one point, and I continued to ask one more question.
What was that one more question?
So at that point, I asked her if there had been any significant trauma that happened before this.
What, if anything, did she say?
So she said, I hit him. She repeated it. There was a woman standing across from her who I believe at that point said, you're hysterical. You need to calm down. You're hysterical. She repeated.
I'm sorry. That's not credible at all. So she decides to give you all the information when you're asking about what could have caused this situation. Like, does he have any medical problems? What medications does he take? And blah, blah, blah. And oh, by the way, I have one more question. Did he suffer any trauma? Oh, yeah, I hit him. Yeah. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Repeated, I hit him. And there was a police officer who was in that vicinity kind of with us who replied, you what? She repeated it one more time. And that officer then signaled to somebody, get Goody down here, which I'm assuming would be the sergeant.
So when you have this conversation, if you recall, you mentioned that the other person who was across from you was just, was that something from your department or an officer or a civilian? Who was that?
So I was standing, Karen Reed was to my right. There was another woman to the left of me, kind of across from her. And then there was a police officer kind of, not directly across from me, but within within the same kind of area that was more closer to Karen, I would say.
Do you know who that officer was?
I don't.
Do you know who the female or civilian person that was across from you? Do you know what that person's name is?
No.
And with respect to when Ms. Reed said this repeatedly, I hit it. Can you describe to the jury sort of the tonality of that? How did she seem?
She was very, very upset. She seemed hysterical, I would even say. Just very upset.
Once you received that information, did you follow up with any other questions to Ms. Reed at that point?
At that point, I did not. I have to drive the ambulance, so it's a time-sensitive situation. So I knew I had to drive the ambulance. It was said in the presence of the police officer, so I felt like that was the appropriate, that information was appropriately transferred. And I just felt, based on her demeanor, I don't think it would have been productive for me to continue to ask her questions at that point.
And so after you receiving that answer, if I hit him, where did you go?
So I went to the ambulance.
And in reference to the ambulance, did you go to the back of the ambulance, in front of the ambulance? Where did you go?
So I went to the back of the ambulance where the patient care was happening.
And as far as the information that you had received from the defendant, did you relay that information to any of the other firefighters from your department in the back of the ambulance?
I did.
And do you recall who was there in the back of the ambulance when you relayed that?
Tony was there, Tim, I think maybe Firefighter Kelly, Firefighter Walsh maybe might have been in there at that point.
Now, as far as when you get to the back of the ambulance, what, if anything, did you do with reference to assist or help as far as patient care with regard to Ms. Reed?
I didn't assist or partake in any patient care.
Now, prior to putting Mr. O'Keefe into the back of the ambulance and prior to your conversation with the defendant, what, if any, observations had you made during the brief time that you were on the side of the stretcher of Mr. O'Keefe and any injuries?
I noted he had injuries to his face. I noticed some blood from his nose, from his mouth, and most notably, he had some swelling to his eyes, mostly the right eye, and a laceration above the right eye.
And same as far as when you went to the back of the ambulance to relay the information that you have been asked to obtain, what, if any, injuries did you observe from Mr. O'Keefe once he was in the back?
Oh, I'm sorry. I observed those injuries in the back of the ambulance. I didn't observe those injuries while he was out on the stretcher. I didn't get a good look at him.
So you really hadn't got a good look until
Right.
back.
Right.
Now, as far as you indicated, you drove the ambulance from Fairview. Where did you go to?
Good Samaritan Hospital.
And as you were driving that ambulance along the roads from Canton to Brockton, what, if anything, did you know as far as visibility, road conditions, things like that?
There was poor visibility. The roads weren't plowed yet, so it took probably longer than usual based on the conditions.
And I apologize, but if I can take you just a step back further for a moment, just in reference to when you're in the back of the ambulance, you indicated the injuries that you observed. What, if any, observations did you make as far as the clothing that Mr. O'Keefe was wearing?
I noted that he was wearing jeans. I noticed a lighter, like a black zip-up jacket or sweatshirt. It was like a lighter jacket. I noticed he had one sneaker on, and that was it.
Do you recall which foot the sneaker was on?
I don't.
All right, could I see counsel for a second, please?
Now, I have a few more questions for you. So, turn your attention to a period of time you testified about yesterday when you're at Mr. O'Keefe is in the back of the ambulance. With respect to his clothing, what, if any, observations did you make in regard to that clothing?
He had, in terms of what he was wearing,
First, in terms of what he was wearing.
he was wearing jeans. He had on a dark colored light zip-up jacket, and I noticed one sneaker.
Now, with regard to that clothing, what, if any, observations did you make in regard to the condition of that clothing?
It was soaked through.
As far as hairs or holes or anything else with regard to that clothing, what, if any, observations did you make of that?
I didn't see any.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have exhibit number 18. Now, first, Firefighter McLaughlin, do you recognize what's up on the screen as exhibit 18?
Do I
Do you
recognize
recognize what it is?
what it is?
Yes.
Yes.
And what do you recognize it to be?
The address of the call, 34 Fairview Road.
Now, with respect to this photograph, you observed within it or where Mr. O'Keefe was on the ground when you first arrived?
From this angle, no, I don't.
And if you could, it was not on the photograph, is it off to the left, the right, or where would it be in relation to this photograph?
To the left, I would say.
And about how far off frame do you believe
I'm not sure. So my view of the call was, my reference point wasn't a house on either side. The patient was off the road. So my view of this call was the patient was on the side of the road. The only thing that I noted was a fire hydrant. So in relation to, I know it was to the left of a house, but I'm not sure exactly how far left it would be from this picture, from this angle.
So your memory is to the left of the house near fire hydrant, is that correct?
Yes.
Take that down. I have no further questions.
All right, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. McLaughlin.
Morning.
You responded to the call of an unresponsive male in the snow at 3430. That was the address you were calling, correct?
Correct.
The house you just looked at, that is in fact 3430, right?
Correct.
As Mr. O'Keefe was being transported by ambulance, you were instructed by firefighter Flamati to get information about the victim from Karen Reed, correct?
He wasn't being transported by the ambulance at that time. He was on the stretcher. And Tony, who was at the head of the stretcher, asked me to get information from Miss Reed about the patient, but he wasn't being transported in the ambulance at that time.
Who's Tony?
Firefighter Flamati.
Got it. When you did, in fact, did you follow those directives?
I did.
When you finally approached Miss Reed in order to get that medical history as best you could, what did the scene look like? Who was with you or around you?
So they started to move the stretcher towards the ambulance. Miss Reed was sort of, I guess I would describe it as moving around the scene. So she was moving, kind of going in circles. So I was really just focused on her, trying to get her to converse with me and get those questions. So that I wasn't really noticing anything else at that point. I was more just trying to contact her, and she was moving around.
What were you wearing at the time?
I had my like winter fire jacket on.
What color was it?
It's yellow and red.
Bright yellow for safety purposes.
Yes.
When you began your actual questioning, once everybody sort of stood still, and you began your questioning of Miss Reed, you were standing in one spot, Miss Reed was standing to your right, is that right?
Well, the questioning started, as I said, she was moving around the scene. So the questioning was ongoing as she was moving around to different locations. I don't know exactly how many of the questions I got out during the time that she was moving around. At one point, we did come to a stop. And at that point, she was to my right.
That's the point I want to focus your attention on, if I could. When you came to a stop, that's the point at which you recall the statement being made that you attribute to my client.
Yes.
Okay. And in that group, who was there? I want to make sure I understand this exactly.
So there was Miss Reed to my right. There was a civilian woman to my left. There was a police officer who was not directly across from me, but I would say maybe diagonal to me, closer to Miss Reed.
Your Honor, I'm holding a photograph of this insurance to Commonwealth. May I approach?
Yes.
I'll show you Mr. McLaughlin, a still photograph. I'm going to ask you to take a quick look at that photograph and look up after you've studied it for a second and tell me if you recognize people that are in that photograph.
I recognize people in it.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes. Is this an exhibit, or are you moving to introduce it?
I'm moving to introduce it. It has not been introduced as yet.
Okay. So go ahead and have the witness adopt it first.
So, do you see the person closest to frame? Closest to the camera?
Yes.
In what appears to be a yellow and red jacket.
Yes.
Who's that?
That would be me.
Who's to your right?
It appears to be Miss Reed,
And to your left?
a civilian woman,
And across, as you said, sort of diagonal, closer to Miss Reed is,
a police officer.
do you know that officer's name, by the way?
I don't know his name.
Okay. Your Honor, with that, I would ask that this be marked as next in order.
Okay. Is there any objection?
No objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. McLaughlin, this is the time or the scene that you've told us about when you heard the statement that you attributed to my client, correct?
Sorry, say that again.
Sure. This is a moment in time, it captures a moment in time when you're standing there. To your right is Karen Reed, which you've described. To your left is a civilian female, which you've described. And across from you is an officer, which you've also described.
Yes.
So this would be the time or close in time to the time that you heard the statement that you attribute to Ms. Reed, correct?
Yes.
The first time you ever made that official report, or an official report to law enforcement regarding that statement was January 30th, 2022, correct?
Well, yes and no. The statement was made in front of the police officer, so that would technically be the first time that statement was made to a police officer in my presence. And then, yes, I testified to it on January 30th, as you said.
You said it on January 30th. You weren't testifying under oath, correct?
Okay. Said it.
Okay.
Yes.
My question was really, and I appreciate you clarifying, my question was really the first time you actually told this statement to any law enforcement officer was on January 30th.
Yes.
Okay. We can take that down. That was when you met with Trooper Michael Crocker, correct?
Yes.
Obviously, that was very close in time to the event. It was the next day. Is that right?
Yes.
The events were close.
The 29th. Yeah. So it would be the next day.
Right, 29:30.
Yep.
Okay. The events were fresh in your mind at that time?
Yes.
You obviously knew about the importance of that interview. You knew that it dealt with a police officer who had passed,
I knew it was important to talk to the police about what I heard.
and you wanted to be accurate.
Yes.
You wanted to be as detailed as you possibly could.
Yes.
And you understand that memories, obviously, they get a little worse with time, not better with time, right?
Sure.
The closer in time you are to the event, the fresher your memory is going to be about the details of that event. You would agree with that, right?
Sure.
You told Trooper Proctor the day after the event, on January 30th, that the statement that you attribute to my client was actually made to the female, not to you in response to your questioning. That's what you told Trooper Proctor, correct?
I don't have those notes in front of me, so I don't know that I can tell you that that's correct, but the statement was made in response to my question. However, the Miss Reed was looking at the civilian woman as she said that.
Does it refresh your recollection that
Don't read what you think refreshes a recollection. You can show or you cannot read it. Yes.
take a look, highlighted portions of that report, and look up when you're finished.
Okay.
May I?
Sure.
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection about what you told Trooper Proctor on January 30th?
Yes.
And you told Trooper Proctor,
No,
quote,
let her.
in turn-
Hold on. I'll see it.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
In fact, what you told Trooper Proctor was, quote, Karen then turned to her friend and stated, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. End quote. Correct?
Okay.
Is that yes?
Yes. If you're saying that's in quotation marks in that, then yes.
That's what's in the report.
Okay.
And you don't have to agree with me. I'm asking yes or no questions. Not okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So in fact, what you told Trooper Proctor was that Karen Reed looked at the female to your left and said 4 times, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Correct?
Yes.
And have you since learned that the name or identity of the female that was standing to your left?
No.
You're aware that the female that was standing to your left reported the exact same statement?
No.
Are you aware that the female standing to your left reported that exact same statement as, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Did I hit him?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You then went back to the ambulance after you heard that statement that you believed you heard my client state.
Yes.
You opened the ambulance door, correct?
Yes.
That was the back door,
The side door.
the side door. And there were 2 officers, I'm sorry, 2 firefighter paramedics in that ambulance at the time, correct?
I believe there were more than 2 at that time.
2 of them included firefighter Nuttall and firefighter Flamont.
Yes.
And at that point, you told them what you believed you had just heard.
So I went into the back of the ambulance. I said, this is his name. This is his date of birth. She says he doesn't have any medical history or allergies, doesn't take daily medications. And then I said, she's saying I hit him. And firefighter Nuttall motioned to his face and said something.
Ask another question.
So the answer to my question is, yes, you told in front of Flamati and Nuttall the phrase, I hit him.
Yes.
Did you write that in any report?
I don't write a report in this scenario of my job.
Let her finish the answer, please.
So there are 2 people that will write reports in my department on a call, one being the lead paramedic and the other being the officer who's on scene. So those are the people that write reports, and I was neither of those, so I did not write that in a report. That's correct.
So let me ask the question again. You didn't write it in any report?
No.
You didn't write it in any notes?
No.
You didn't document that statement in any way whatsoever, correct?
Other than my interview with Proctor and my subsequent testimony.
You didn't document that statement in any way yourself, did you?
No.
Since January 30th, in that conversation that we just talked about with Trooper Proctor, your statement has evolved. Is that right?
I don't know how to answer that.
You testified yesterday to something quite different
Not quite different.
than what you testified, I'm sorry, what you stated to Trooper Proctor.
Respectfully, I think my testimony has been pretty consistent.
You testified to something yesterday quite different in context than what you told Trooper Proctor. Isn't that right?
I don't know that that's right.
Well, you told Trooper Proctor, Karen Reed looked at a female standing to your left, said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Right?
Yes.
Yesterday, you told these jurors that Karen Reed said, I hit him, and an officer said, you what? And she repeated, I hit him, and the officer immediately turned and went to find another sergeant. Is that right or no? Yes or no?
No, there was more to that testimony.
That's
I
not what you
think
said yesterday?
I think I said more than that, than what you just repeated.
Is what I said consistent with what you said yesterday? There's a lot of things that you said, more of. I'm asking, is that the sum and substance of what you told these jurors yesterday?
Yes.
So you would agree that from that time till yesterday, your story has evolved. It's changed.
Would I agree with that? I don't know that I agree with that.
You think the story that you told Trooper Proctor is exactly the same?
I understand what you're saying. So I understand what you're saying.
So has your story evolved?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Mr. McLaughlin, who's Caitlin Albert?
I went to high school with somebody named Caitlin Albert.
Somebody named Caitlin Albert.
I went to high school with somebody named Caitlin Albert.
So do you know Caitlin Albert?
I do.
You're friends with Caitlin Albert?
I would say more acquaintances, not close friends.
How do you describe an acquaintance?
I would say that we have mutual friends, so we might see each other occasionally because of mutual friends, but we don't have a one-on-one friendship or hang out regularly.
Who's her dad?
I don't know.
Objections. Do you know who her family is?
Objection.
Sustained.
Maybe approach her.
Yes.
Ms. McLaughlin, when just briefly as a predicate, when you stepped out, I just want to make sure we're very clear. Did you have a conversation with anybody from the Commonwealth between the time you walked out of court and just now?
Just about if I needed a drink of water or to use the restroom.
Okay, but nothing about the substance of your testimony. Ms. McLaughlin, I asked you before we broke if you know who Caitlin Albert is.
Yes.
You said that you went to high school with somebody by that name, correct?
Yes.
You in fact know that person as a friend, correct?
I know her.
She's more than an acquaintance.
I would say she's an acquaintance. She's not a close friend.
She a group of friends of yours?
We have mutual friends.
How long have you known her?
Probably since high school.
When you say, and I don't want to ask your age, I wouldn't do that. How many years, how long of a span of years have you known her?
Since high school, so maybe 10.
And you know her family generally?
I don't.
You don't know anything about her family?
I don't know her family.
Have you ever been to her house?
Not that I recall ever being there.
Not that you recall, or you haven't, so it's two different things.
I don't recall ever being there.
Okay, so you might have been there, you just don't recall.
I don't recall ever being there.
Okay. If I were to ask you if you've ever been to her house, yes or no, you cannot answer that because you don't know. You cannot recall, correct?
I would say, I would lean towards no. I have no recollection of ever being at her house.
Are you friends with her on social media?
Yes.
May I approach her?
Yes.
I'm just going to leave all four of these. I don't know what they look like. Can you do me a favor and take a look at the first document? What does that document appear to be?
It says Caitlin's friends.
What does it look like? That's a printout of.
I'm sorry.
What does that look like? It's a printout of. Does that look like it's from Facebook or one of the social media apps?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Some social media.
Okay. Under Caitlin's friends, do you see your handle, for lack of a better phrase?
I do.
Okay. Is that you?
Yes.
Can you look at the next photograph? Before we talk about that next photograph, which is, I should go in order for the record. The first one was H. Before we talk about I, which is the next photograph, how long have you been social media friends, quote, friends with Caitlin Albert?
I don't know.
More than 5 years?
Probably.
More than 8 years?
I don't know.
The second photograph, or the second document appears to be a photograph. It's I, is that right?
Yes.
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
I do.
Do you see Caitlin in that photograph?
I do.
When was that photograph taken?
I have no idea.
Where was that photograph taken?
I don't know.
You have no idea how long ago that was?
I don't.
What was the event that was depicted, or that is depicted in the photograph?
I don't know.
Is that local, or was that on a trip somewhere?
I don't know. Probably local. If it's a beach, I don't remember. I've never been away to a beach on vacation with all of these people, so probably local.
When we say local, let's talk about local. I don't mean we may have different definitions. Where would that be? What beach? I'm not as familiar with the location.
I'm not sure.
Maybe on the Cape?
Possibly.
Do you recognize some of the other folks in that photograph?
I do.
Matter of fact, there's a lot of people in that photograph, right?
There's a lot of people in it.
Did you take a trip with all those people at some point in the past?
Take a trip.
To the beach?
Did I go to the beach at some point with these people? Yes.
Okay. When did you go to the beach with all those folks?
I don't know. I don't know when this picture is from.
Have you
It
gone?
seems old to me, but
Well, you can see yourself. I mean,
yeah.
What was that? Did you say it seems old to you?
to me. This isn't like a recent to me.
how old do you think that photograph is?
I don't know. It could be around high school. I'm not sure.
And I know Mr. Jackson didn't want to ask you how old you are. When did you get out of high school?
2014. I
Okay.
graduated.
So could that have been around 2014?
It could be.
So you've known Caitlin for at least that long?
Yeah.
And when I say travel, I mean travel outside of Canton. Gone places with her, correct?
Yes.
Posed for photographs with her,
Yes.
with other folks.
Yes.
Looks like socializing and partying, correct?
Looks like socializing.
Maybe a small vacation.
I've never been on vacation with a big group of people like this.
Well, that doesn't look like what would you call that? That's not like a mini vacation.
A day at the beach.
A day at the beach. Okay, so maybe a day vacation.
Sure.
Let's look at the next photograph. Jay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I do need to remind myself. That photograph looks a little older, correct?
They both look old to me. I don't know when they're from.
I'm gonna ask you the same questions about that. These aren't trick questions. I don't want to waste your time. What's that from?
I don't remember specifically what or where this is.
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
I do.
Do you see Caitlin in the photograph?
I do.
You're all posing for the camera, correct?
Yes.
What's the location?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't.
This is yet another socializing event with Caitlin that you can't recall.
I don't know where this is
that
exactly.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your words. Go ahead.
I don't know where this is exactly.
So you've had so many socializing events with Caitlin and other folks that you can't pinpoint this one as opposed to any of the others that you've had.
No, I'm saying I can't. These photos are old. I don't know. I don't remember where these were or the circumstances around them. That's what I'm saying.
You see how you're dressed in that photo?
Yes.
You see how you see the other friends that are there with you?
Yeah.
How many people would you estimate are in that photo?
Do you want me to count how many people?
Give me it. I don't have a photo in front of me, so just give me it. Is it more than 5?
12
people.
ish.
Do you recognize those dozen people?
I do.
Did you go on a day trip with those dozen people?
Yeah, possibly.
When?
I don't know.
Where?
I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't remember.
How many times have you gone on day trips with those dozen people?
I don't know.
How about turning back to photograph I? How many times have you gone on day trips and socialized with those number of people? It looks like probably double that, 20 or 25 people.
I don't know.
That's a big group of friends of yours that includes Caitlin Albert, right?
A big group of mutual friends.
So it's not just that she's a mutual friend, she's a friend. Isn't that right?
As I said before, I would consider myself more of an acquaintance. We have mutual friends. I wouldn't consider her a close friend, but yeah, I mean, that would be my answer.
You basically grew up with her, went to high school with her.
I didn't grow up with her. I went to high school with her.
When I say grow up with her, I mean you grew up in the same town as her, right?
Grew up in the same town.
Went to the same high school as she did.
Yes.
Socialized with the same friends as she did.
Yes.
Went on day trips with her,
Yes.
and apparently have all the same friend group. Right?
I don't know that we have all the same friend group. These are people that we're both friends with.
But you don't consider her anything more than just an acquaintance.
I think I described it to you.
The answer to my question is you don't consider her to be anything more than an acquaintance.
I wouldn't consider her to be a close friend.
Now let's take a look at the last photograph. Describe what's in that photograph.
It's a picture of me. Caitlin is in it, and there's seems to be other people in it as well.
May I approach?
Yes.
Both of you can take it. Sorry, I just want to drop it on you. That's a close-up photograph of who?
Caitlin, and I'm also in it.
And you're doing what in the photograph as it relates to Caitlin?
It seems like I'm kind of kneeling down next to her.
Touching her?
Can I see that for just a minute, please? Thank you. I'm sorry, can you show me you? Okay.
So just for the record, and may I approach one more time?
Yes.
Thank you. You're sort of just behind Caitlin in that photograph?
Yes.
Caitlin's the one drinking the beer?
Yes.
You got your right arm around her?
Yes.
You both appear to be wearing swimwear,
Yes.
bathing suits,
Yes.
and you're giving some sort of sign with your left hand?
No, I'm not.
Is that somebody else's hand that I saw? Maybe that's Caitlin's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have the photograph in front of me. I don't have it committed to memory. Looks like that's a photograph that you and Caitlin posed for together, correct?
It seems like it's a close-up of a bigger, like a picture. It seems to be zoomed in on a group of people.
Which was posted on social media,
Okay.
is that right?
Are you telling me that?
I'm asking you that. Have you ever seen that posted on social media?
I don't recall seeing this picture, but if it was on social media, then okay.
How long ago was that picture taken?
I don't know.
Who took the picture?
I don't know.
Where were you when the photograph was taken?
Probably at a beach if we're wearing bathing suits.
Probably at a beach or at a beach?
Well, I can't see a beach in the picture. We're in bathing suits. It could be at a beach.
Right. Do you recognize the bathing suit that you're wearing in the photograph?
No.
You literally don't even recognize your own outfit?
No.
So that doesn't help define where you were and when that photograph was taken?
No, sir.
Do any of these photographs remind you that you've been to Caitlin's house at some point in your friendship with her?
No.
Has Caitlin ever been to your house?
Not to my recollection.
When was the last time you talked to Caitlin?
I don't remember exactly. It's probably been a few years.
When was the last time you went to an event, socializing event with Caitlin?
Again, I don't remember exactly.
Did you talk to Caitlin at any point at or around, on or around January 29th, 2022?
No,
When was the last time you had talked to Caitlin before January 29th, 2022?
I don't know.
Was that a day before, a week before, a month before?
No, I don't talk to her. Like I said, we're not like close friends, so it's like pretty infrequent that we would interact. So I don't know when the last time before that.
What about texting or Snapchatting or communicating that way?
I don't remember.
Would it have been a week before the 29th?
I don't think so.
You don't think so, or you know so?
I don't think so.
What about after the 29th, after you responded to 34 Fairview? You ever have any communication with her?
Not that I can recall.
So is that something that you think you might remember if you responded to a house of a father where there's a police officer dead or dying on the yard, on the lawn, 30 feet from the front door? Might have had a conversation with Caitlin.
I've never had a conversation with Caitlin about that call or this case.
Did you ever contact any of your other friends about the fact that you responded to Caitlin's parents' house?
No.
Were you ever asked about this relationship that you had with Caitlin Albert, this friendship that you had with Caitlin Albert at or near the time of the 29th of January?
No.
Did you ever disclose to anybody that you had a relationship with Caitlin Albert at or around the time of this event?
No.
When you went to 34 Fairview, you knew that that was the Albert family home, correct?
No.
When did you learn that it was the Albert? You now know that.
I know that now.
When did you find out?
I don't know. I don't recall. It was some point after. It was, but I don't know when.
It had been the next day.
No.
You and firefighter Flamati and firefighter Nuttall were all discussing this case pretty intently after this event, correct?
No.
It's not that often in the little town of Canton that a police officer is found dead or dying on another police officer's lawn. Wouldn't you agree with that?
We responded to a medical call. So the conversation after the fact was at the hospital, debriefing the call, going over what happened, what we use for equipment, what we need, and just like that was the extent of the conversation.
Would you agree that this case, given its notoriety, is discussed at the fire station almost daily?
I don't know when I'm not there, but it does get brought up.
And obviously the fact that the house belongs to, or belonged at the time, to the Albert family is part of that discussion.
I don't know. Like I said, it gets brought up, but I just avoid it. I don't engage in the conversations.
It was certainly enough of a subject matter that you learned, according to you, after the 29th, that house belongs to Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, parents of your friend Caitlin Albert, right?
Well, at that point, it was on the news consistently, so I don't know where that information was introduced, but
It was pretty early on after the 29th.
I don't recall when it was known that that was the case.
I mean, you didn't learn that that was the Albert family home last week.
No.
You've known it for going on 2.5 years.
I don't know exactly when I learned that that was the house.
I realize you don't know exactly, Ms. McLaughlin. I'm not asking you the day you learned. I'm asking you, you've known this basically through the lifespan of this case.
At some point after I learned it.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out about how long after, a week after, a month after.
I'm not sure.
But it was more toward January 29th than it was yesterday, correct?
Correct.
One of the couple of questions. Do you know any of Caitlin's siblings?
No.
You don't know Brian Albert Jr.?
No.
You know any of her extended family that might be a little closer in age to you, like Colin Albert?
No.
You ever met any of them?
Not that I recall.
Not that you recall or no?
I don't remember meeting any of them.
Your Honor, that's all I have right now.
All right, Mr. Lally, any questions?
Just a few, Your Honor. So, Ms. McLaughlin, you're not friends with Caitlin Albert, correct?
I'm sorry.
You're not friends with Caitlin Albert, is that correct?
I would say she's an acquaintance, not a close friend.
Now, you were shown some photographs of you in a fairly large group with Caitlin Albert, correct?
Yes.
You don't know when those were, correct?
I don't know exactly.
You don't know where you were when those were taken, correct?
No, not exactly. They seem old.
And just to back up, you knew her in high school, but you weren't friends in high school, correct?
I would categorize our relationship as always being just acquaintances. I knew her. We had some mutual friends, but we were never close friends. We don't have a one-on-one relationship.
And as far as high school versus post-high school, would you see her more so during high school years, or after you graduated?
Well, probably more in high school just because you're there every day. But then afterwards, yeah, it was only here and there. Like I said, like mutual friends. So maybe events for mutual friends, I might run into her.
And to be clear, and I think you made reference to it, but that last photograph that's marked as K, that seems to be a cropped or sort of zoomed in of a larger photo. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Now, as far as each of those photos you were shown, you're present in a photo with Caitlin Albert in a much larger group, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever hung out or socialized with Caitlin Albert outside of the setting of a large group?
No.
You've never been to her house before that date of January 29th that you know, correct?
Correct.
She's never been to your house that you know of, correct?
Correct.
Now, as far as that first one, as far as social media is concerned, as far as the friends list, and without sort of doing it, I'm sort of putting that in air quotes, how many friends would you say you have on social media in total?
I don't know. Maybe over 500. I don't know.
And of those 500 people, how many of those 500 people would you consider actual friends?
Much less than that. Less than 10.
All right, why don't we wrap this up, Mr. Lally?
Just when it comes to that day that you responded, you're working with the fire department, you responded to a call on January 29th to a home, or as you say, to somewhere on the side of the road. Did you have any idea whose house that was adjacent to where the treatment was concerned with regard to your patient?
No.
I know.
Okay. All right. So there was an objection that this was in violation of Rule 14 to admit these exhibits, Mr. Lally. That's what you said, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I agree. So the exhibits don't come in, but based on this voir dire and the answers, I'm going to give you some leeway on exactly what you did. Okay. The relationship, the socialization and the extent of it, friends on social media, those areas. You didn't quite get everything that you mentioned at sidebar you thought you'd get. So that's not coming in.
So it's a,
If you,
stay within the parameters.
so why don't you come over here then, just because?
Mayor,
Yes.
thank you. Ms. McLaughlin, thank you for your patience. When we last left off, I was asking you about your relationship with Caitlin Albert. You recall that?
Yes.
I want to ask you a few more questions about that. You and Caitlin Albert have known each other for how long?
Since high school.
Which is, give me a span of time.
So probably about 10 years.
You have traveled with Caitlin Albert and friends. When I say travel, I don't mean to exotic locations. I mean day trips, etc.
Yes.
You have a group of mutual friends together, correct?
We have mutual friends. Correct.
Those mutual friends have gone on day trips with you and Caitlin Albert involved
Correct.
on more than one occasion, as a matter of fact.
Correct.
On many occasions, matter of fact.
I don't know.
More than 5?
I don't know.
More than 10?
I don't know.
You've seen photographs of you with Caitlin Albert on some of these day trips, correct?
Yes.
You've seen at least 3 of those photographs.
Yes.
You're friends with Caitlin Albert on social media.
Yes.
Other than the 3 photographs that you've seen, we just talked about, there have been other events that you've been at with Caitlin Albert that weren't necessarily photographed, but we don't have those photographs, correct?
Probably.
You know that Caitlin Albert is the same Caitlin Albert that's the daughter of Brian and Nicole Albert, as you sit here.
Yes. As I sit here today. Yes.
And you know that Caitlin Albert also has siblings, Brian Albert Jr., correct?
As I sit here today. Yes, I know that.
And you also know, as you sit here today, that 34 Fairview was, at the time of January 29th, 2022, the Albert home, correct?
I know that as of today.
You indicated, let me rephrase that. When you showed up at 34 Fairview that morning, did you recognize that address or recognize the home as being that of Caitlin Albert's?
No.
You've since learned that that was Caitlin Albert's home.
I know that now.
And you gave your original statement to Trooper Proctor the next day.
Yes.
And from that day to this day, or let's take yesterday, from that day to yesterday, you learned that 34 Fairview was the Canton Albert family home, correct?
You're asking if I know from.
Between those 2 dates,
Yes.
between the time you spoke with
Yes.
Trooper Proctor in this report, till yesterday when you testified, you now know that that's the Albert home.
Yes.
And you also indicated that between that report that you gave to Trooper Proctor, that statement that you gave to Trooper Proctor, and yesterday's testimony, your statement has evolved. You've already admitted that, correct?
I don't think I agreed with you on that.
It's changed. It's different.
I've always testified to I feel as though my testimony has been consistent.
I appreciate how you might feel. I'm just interested in the actual facts. You didn't tell Trooper Proctor anything about this officer questioning my client. Correct?
Objection.
So I'm going to see counsel at sidebar because I think this morphed into a different.
You agree, Mr. McLaughlin, that the statement that you gave to Trooper Proctor is not the same as the statement that you gave to these jurors yesterday. Right?
Yes.
I just want to know.
Yes.
A couple other questions. When you did make this statement to Trooper Proctor, your visit to Canton PD was coordinated by another officer to put you and Trooper Proctor together for the interview, correct?
I don't recall that.
You recall being contacted by a completely different officer to say, hey, Trooper Proctor wants to talk to you, come on into Canton PD, let's have an interview.
I don't remember exactly how the interview was set up.
So that was my next question. You may have just told me this. Do you have any recollection who set that interview up?
I don't.
His name Kevin Albert sound familiar?
No.
You know Kevin Albert?
No.
You know him to be a police officer at Canton PD?
No.
You know him to be the brother of Brian Albert?
No.
The objection sustained.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Lally, any redirect?
Yes, sir. So Firefighter McLaughlin, you went to high school with Caitlin Allen, correct?
Yes.
And could you describe the nature of your relationship, if any, with Caitlin?
I would describe it as we're not close friends. I would say we're more acquaintances. We have mutual friends. I don't have a one-on-one relationship with her.
And you were asking questions about social media, correct?
Yes.
And if you could, or if you could guess me about how many friends, and I'm sort of throwing air quotes in there, how many friends on social media would you have?
I don't know, probably 500.
And of those probably 500 friends on social media, how many of those are actual friends that you talk to, interact with beyond social media?
Much less than that.
Now, prior to, let me ask you this, as far as, would you say that you saw Caitlin Albert more so when you were in high school or more so since you have graduated from high school?
I would say probably more in high school because we were there every day. So
And about what year or so was it that you graduated from high school?
2014.
And as far as any sort of photographs that were referenced to you, have you seen those photographs?
Here?
Yes.
Here today, I saw them.
Do you have any idea where or when those photographs were taken?
I don't remember.
And of those photographs, it's not just you and Caitlin Albert in a photograph, is that correct?
Correct.
So a larger group of people, is that correct?
Correct.
When you were asked about sort of these day trips, they were sort of trips specifically on a day to a beach, it looks like, correct?
Correct.
And to a beach with a larger group of people, is that correct?
Correct.
And with reference to Caitlin Albert specifically, have you ever socialized with her in any setting beyond a setting that contained a large group of people?
No.
Now, with respect to, you went to, you say high school, you graduated from Canton High School, correct?
Correct.
And you grew up in Canton, is that correct?
Yes.
And did you know Caitlin Albert before you attended Canton High School?
No, that's probably when we first really interacted with high school.
And essentially, you live within the town I'm sorry, you work within the town that you grew up in, correct?
Correct.
And is that abnormal from a civil service perspective?
No, from a civil service perspective, you're given more points for residency. So it's actually, I would say, preferred, or you're placed higher on the list if you have residency in that town.
So it's actually preferred and more common than uncommon as far as growing up in a town and then working in that same town in a civil service position like firefighter.
Yes.
Now, during the course of the time that you've been on the Canton Fire Department, have you received calls to residencies or other places or even patients that you either knew or were familiar with?
Yes.
Would that be a reason for you to not go on a call?
No.
And you have an obligation, wouldn't you say, to respond to a call when a call is made and you're on duty in that station, correct?
Yes.
The objection sustained. Ask the question differently.
As far as when you're on duty as a firefighter at a particular station house and you get a call, what, if any, choice do you have to respond to any particular call?
I don't have a choice. I just have to respond to the call.
And then prior to that date of January 29th, had you ever been over through socialization or otherwise Caitlin Albert's house?
Not that I ever remember.
Has she ever been over your house?
No.
And again, had you ever socialized with her outside of a large group of people?
No.
When you responded on that morning, just after 6 a.m., the house of 34 Fairview Road, did you know who lived?
No.
During the time since January 29th of 2022, have you ever spoken to Caitlin Albert about what happened that morning in front of 34 Fairview Road?
No.
Now, you were asked some questions on cross-examination about knowing sort of Caitlin Albert's parents' names or siblings' names or things of that, correct?
Right.
And prior to January 29th, you didn't know any of those names, is that correct?
No.
You learned of them subsequently, is that correct?
Yes.
May we approach this briefly?
Okay.
So, Ms. McLaughlin, you learned of those other people's names within the Albert family subsequent to your response to this call on January 29th, is that correct?
Yes.
And you learned of those through sort of various news or media reports in relation to this case, not something that you had any conversations with anybody about, correct?
Correct.
I have nothing further.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may,
Okay. Okay.
you indicated, Ms. McLaughlin, Mr. Lally just asked you about these 500 friends on social media. A couple of quick questions about that. Of those 500 friends on social media, how many of those have you taken day trips with?
I don't know.
How many of those have you gone to the beach with?
I don't know.
How many of those have you posed for photographs with?
I don't know.
How many of those have you posed for photographs in swimwear with?
I don't know.
How many of those have you been photographed with your arm around while that other friend drinking beer?
Sustained. Sustained.
Ms. McLaughlin, all of those things that I just mentioned, you have done with Ms. Caitlin Albert.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Okay. All right, Firefighter McLaughlin, you are all set. All right, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name?
Greg Woodbury, Woodbury.
And what do you do for it, sir?
Lieutenant paramedic in the Canton Fire Department.
And how long have you been a member of the Canton Fire Department?
About 24 years now.
How long have you had the rank of lieutenant in the Canton Fire Department?
That's been 8 years now.
Now, prior to working with Canton Fire Department, what, if any, other work did you have within that same sort of field?
Prior to being on Canton Fire, I was an EMT paramedic in the North Shore area.
And if you could just, with regard to your working as a paramedic and a firefighter, specifically as far as being a paramedic, what, if any, sort of specialized training did you receive in regard to, or certifications did you receive in regard to being a paramedic?
So after I got my EMT, when I went to paramedic school, I went to Northeastern University. It was a 1-year full-time program.
And following you successfully completed that program, is that correct?
Yes.
And is there any sort of continuing educational component or recertification component in regard to your paramedic certification?
Yeah, every 2 years, paramedics have to recertify. We're required to get so many hours of continuing education to recertify every 2 years.
If I could turn your attention to the date of January 28, 2022 into January 29, 2022. Were you working with the Canton Fire Department on that day?
Yes.
And what kind of shift were you working on that day? Do you recall?
It was a 24-hour shift.
And 24-hour shift within the Canton Fire Department is what?
It's 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. the next day.
Now, turning your attention to the 29th, at what point did you sort of get up and start to begin your day at the fire station?
So a normal day, so was that my beginning of the shift you're talking about, or the end of the shift? Okay, so the second part of the shift. Normally we get up at 6 for the officers, but I got up a little earlier then because we had the snowstorm coming in. So I had to make sure everything's shoveled. I think I got up about maybe 5, check the apron of the area in front of the station, and make sure the walkways are clear.
And when you got up to check that, what if anything did you do?
It had been snowing. There was blizzard type conditions coming in. So it was a decent level of snowfall there. Let's see, maybe 2-3 inches on the ground at that time.
And as far as with reference to that, what if anything did you do to?
I think we can move quickly through this part of it. The cleaning the apron. Okay.
As far as that particular day or that shift, how were you assigned within the firehouse?
I was lieutenant on engine 4.
And with respect to that, at some point shortly after 6 a.m., did you receive a dispatch to a call?
Yes, yeah, we're dispatched to a call for a person in the snow.
And did you respond to that call, sir?
Yes, I did.
And you were assigned to the engine, is that correct?
Correct.
Who, if anyone else, was assigned to the engine that day with you on engine?
So we had McLaughlin and Frank Walsh were my 2 engine crew.
And in addition to yourself and your engine, what if any other sort of vehicles or apparatuses?
Ambulance one also responded with us. So that was Tony Flamati, Matt Kelly, and Tim Nuttall had also hopped on the ambulance. He was coming in the shift in the morning, came in early to beat the storm.
And you recall where the call was in regard to what the address was?
I don't remember the address offhand, but it was not that far away in the district.
And when you arrived in the engine, when you first arrived on scene, as you were arriving on scene, what if anything did you sort of see as upon your arrival?
So the police were already there. We were approaching the scene. I could see several people off to the side in the yard doing something. So we went to investigate that.
When you say off to the side, was that to your left, your right, or something?
So the way I was approaching the street, it was on the left-hand side.
And when you indicate you see some group of people, is that correct?
Yeah, there was a few people around. I don't remember exactly how many and what they were doing.
And when you start to make your way over there, what if any, when you arrive on scene, what is sort of the first thing you do?
So we went to evaluate the patient. I believe someone had started CPR prior to us getting there. So we went to continue that.
When you say someone had started CPR prior to you,
I don't remember the particular individual that was doing it as we arrived.
my only question, sir, so it's someone outside of your department, correct?
Yeah.
And do you know if it was one of the police officers or someone else?
I don't remember.
Now, obviously, you're dispatching in response to an unresponsive man, correct?
Yes.
And at the time that you're arriving on scene, say you see that sort of cluster of people, were you able to see that unresponsive male at that point?
Not in the vehicle, not until I exited the vehicle.
And at some point, much later or subsequently, did you come to learn the identity of the unresponsive male patient that you were involved?
Afterwards, they told me yes. At the time, I did not know.
And what did you learn his name to be subsequent?
I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous and blanking right now.
Was it Mr. John O'Keefe?
Yes, correct.
And when you first came over to where Mr. O'Keefe was on the ground, is that correct?
Yes, he was.
What kind of position was his body in? When he first
He was lying supine on the ground, like on his back. He was parallel to the street, about 8 feet away from the snowbank.
And in reference to that, as far as the snow was concerned, what if any snow did you observe on or around where?
He was covered with snow, and there was snow around the area.
And so from a treatment of Mr. O'Keefe as a patient, what is sort of the first thing that you did or
We started CPR, or CCR, sorry, immediately. Someone went to go get a board to get him onto that so we can get him onto the stretcher and move him to the ambulance. And then someone else was trying to get the backstory, trying to figure out the scenario that we're dealing with.
If I could just stop you for a moment. So you mentioned CCR, is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So what is the difference between CCR versus CPR?
CPR is called cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So that is when you're having someone breathe. CCR is when we first get to a scene, they changed the protocols a little while ago. So we don't have to give respirations right away. We can just do compressions. It's a little more effective to get the blood flowing quickly.
As far as your involvement in patient care, sort of what was that during that initial phase where Mr. O'Keefe was supine on the ground? What was your involvement in patient care at that point?
I was assisting with the CPR, making sure everyone else was doing their task. As lieutenant, I kind of got to manage the other people and make sure everyone's on target for what they're supposed to be doing.
And during that initial time that you're outside in the area where Mr. O'Keefe is on the ground, what any observations did you make as far as injuries to Mr. O'Keefe at that time?
Outside on the ground, he was covered in snow. So we're really not doing any sort of secondary survey initially. The primary concern is the primary survey, which is airway, breathing, circulation. He was not breathing
he had no pulse. So our primary concern is to get that going.
And at some point, are you able to get him from the ground to the back of the ambulance?
Yeah, we moved him onto a longboard, then moved him from the longboard onto the stretcher, and I brought the stretcher over the ambulance and loaded him in there.
You mentioned at some point upon your sort of initial arrival at the patient that different people were tasked with different things.
Yes.
And someone was tasked with trying to get sort of what you termed the backstory. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why,
Yeah.
why is that important?
So when you have someone unconscious, unresponsive, you want to know when they were last well, the last breathing, last seen, trying to figure out why someone is on the ground. There are different reasons of why they could be there, trying to figure that out. Normal people don't lay down in the snow. So trying to evaluate the reason the person was unconscious.
And so you're able to get him on, Mr. O'Keefe, onto a stretcher into the back of the ambulance, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Fair to say that the lighting in the back of the ambulance is better than it was outside.
correct.
And when you're in the back of the ambulance, are you able to then do or participate in that secondary survey?
Yeah, we started doing a secondary survey after we started getting good compressions going. Someone's working on the intubation. And then one of the procedures is to strip off the clothes and evaluate the person.
And if you recall, how were the clothes removed?
I don't recall exactly which method they used. Typically, we cut them off, but I'm not sure if they did that or they just pulled them off.
And what, if anything, do you recall as to Mr. O'Keefe's clothing and sort of what he was wearing when he was found?
Really wasn't paying attention to it. The primary concern is trying to revive him.
So to that secondary survey, as far as once you're in the back of the ambulance, what, if anything, did you observe as far as injuries on Mr. O'Keefe?
He had a hematoma, or a bruising. The right eye was very prominent. There was some scratches on the right forearm. Was most of the external injuries we noted.
And now, in addition, so as far as people on scene, there were a number of different firefighters in your
Yes.
department. You mentioned that the police were on scene when you arrived. Is that correct?
Correct.
So beyond the police and fire, what, if any, other individuals did you observe at some point when you were on scene?
There was some other civilians there. I really wasn't paying attention to them.
Now, with reference to that backstory that you were talking about, at any point in time, either outside of the ambulance or inside of the ambulance, who, if anyone, was tasked by you or anyone else to try to obtain that back?
I think Katie McLaughlin was the one that obtained the backstory.
And if you know, was there any other conversation that you were present for between any of your other firefighters and any of those civilians?
That was primarily when she relayed to us the information that she'd obtained. We were trying to figure out the scenario of why he was found unconscious, unresponsive.
Let me ask you this way. So as far as arrival at the patient when he's on the ground,
Yep.
Who gets there first? You and the other individuals in the engine or the firefighters in the ambulance?
We both respond from the same station at the same time. The engine's in the front, the ambulance usually in the rear. So I believe we pulled over, the ambulance pulled over at the same time as us. I believe C5 went as well, which is the captain. He was also responding with us.
Now, as far as the person that Firefighter McLaughlin spoke to, what, if anything, did you know about that person at that time?
At that time, I knew nothing. I knew there was someone that had been with him. She relayed the information of what she had heard to us.
And the information that Firefighter McLaughlin, without reference to what it was, but the information that Firefighter McLaughlin was able to obtain, did she communicate that to you and the other firefighters?
Yes, she came in the ambulance, told us what she had heard.
As far as the information that Firefighter McLaughlin provided, did that comport with what you were observing as far as injuries to Mr. O'Keefe?
Objection.
Sustained. You can lay a foundation.
Now, as far as, again, the injuries that you observed to Mr. O'Keefe in the back of the ambulance were what?
It was the bruising of the right eye and the scratches on the forearm.
And what, if anything, did Firefighter McLaughlin indicate to you and told her?
That someone said she had hit him, and he was last seen.
Objection.
Sustained. That will be stricken.
Bring attention back to the treatment of Mr. O'Keefe in the back of the ambulance, right?
Yes.
With respect to that, you testified that you don't recall sort of specifically anything as far as clothing for Mr. O'Keefe. Is that correct?
I was not paying attention to the clothing.
And so to that point, what were you paying attention to at that?
Primarily, the big issue was doing the CCR, then to CPR. We're trying to resuscitate the person as best we can. We know with the hypothermic patient, it's very difficult. It's a longer treatment protocol than a typical cardiac arrest because we have to do the CPR for an extended period of time. We have to get the patient warmed up. So the clothing is just quickly removed versus examined or looked at. And the focus was on getting compressions done. Someone was trying to intubate, getting a line started. So that's what we're mainly focused on.
As far as treatment is concerned, what, if any, sort of interplay or intersection is there between a cardiac arrest and a hypothermic patient?
When someone's hypothermic and in cardiac arrest, we can't declare them dead or passed on until they've been warmed up. A lot of times with hypothermic patients, they can appear to be dead when they're still actually alive. So there has been instances where people have woken up in morgues that were hypothermic when their body warmed up a little bit. So we have to be very cautious, very careful about treating them as much as we can, as careful as we can. We can't shake them too much, can't move them too much. So it's getting blood circulating and then starting ventilating after a few minutes.
Back to the CCR, the chest compression you're talking about. What, if any, sort of, based on your training experience, what, if any, sort of protocols are? Well, let me ask you this. Were you doing chest compressions throughout the entirety of this interaction?
No, chest compressions, most people do them about 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, it's very tiring to do chest compressions. So we swap off every few minutes. So a different person will come in and do the compressions. They'll do it for a little while, go into a different task. Someone else will come in and do compressions.
Is that sort of protocol that you followed in this instance?
Yes. Yes, we were rotating her person doing compressions.
And the ambulance at some point leaves the scene and goes to a hospital, is that correct?
Correct.
And do you know what hospital?
Good Samaritan Medical Center.
If you could just wait.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, Good Samaritan Medical Center.
And did you go along for that ambulance ride?
No, I did not.
And where did you go?
So as the lieutenant on the engine, I stayed with the engine. I detailed my 2 other engine personnel to the ambulance. So they went with the 2 engine personnel, the 2 regular people on the ambulance, as well as an additional person. Timmy Nuttall was the extra person for that one.
And so you take the engine and go with.
I went back to the station.
And at some point shortly after that, are you called back to the roadway of Fairview Road?
Yes,
And same general area of Fairview Road?
yes, same address.
And how is it that you get from station back to Fairview?
So we had struck a box to cover the personnel that we had detailed. That means we send out a page looking for additional people to come in. We had Sam Pock come in. So he was my engine driver, and I was in the lieutenant seat. We responded back in engine 4.
And the ambulance that had been there on Fairview Road with you previously was at Good Samaritan?
Yes. Yeah. A call like that takes an extended period of time, even at the hospital, to assist them there. So we had to get an ambulance from Station 2.
And if you know who was on that ambulance from Station 2?
That was Jason Becker and Dan Whitley.
Now, with reference to this particular call, what, if anything, was this secondary dispatch with regard to?
So this call was for Section 12, which is someone in having a psychological issue.
And do you know who that Section 12 was in regard to?
Yeah, this was for Karen Reed.
And at some points, you go back to the scene along with the engine and the second ambulance from Station 2.
Yeah, so the engine got there first. The ambulance coming from the other station, so it was a couple extra minutes before they got there.
And when you arrived, who, if anyone else, was sort of on scene on Fairview Road?
The police were still on scene. They had never left. So initially it was me, Sam Pock, and the police. So I went up to try to get the backstory of why we're doing a Section 12 and what was going on.
And at some point, well, when you first arrived, without regard to what was said to you, but who, if anyone, do you speak with to sort of try to gain this information or backstory?
When I got onto the scene, I talked to the police that was there.
Who'd you talk to, sir? The police officer
Police
was there?
officer, yes, sorry.
And do you recall specifically who that police officer was?
I really did not pay attention to the individual officer.
And at some point, do you have a conversation, or what, if any, conversation do you have with the patient?
So it was when we identified Karen Reed as the patient, the ambulance arrived shortly after. We started talking to her and trying to get her into the ambulance to talk to her further.
And just to be clear for the records, when you say Miss Reed, do you see her in the courtroom today?
Yes, she's right over there.
That's a record of life identification of the identified witness.
Yes.
Now, with respect to the defendant, Miss Reed, where is she sort of when you first make contact with her on scene when you come back?
In the general vicinity of where the police cars are.
And what is sort of the purpose of this initial conversation that you're having with Miss Reed?
For Section 12, that's when someone's made threats to them, harm themselves or others. So I just had to judge her mental ability at the time and see if she was a threat to us and how much of a threat she was to herself. So just a quick evaluation, see how her behavior was.
And what, if any, observations did you make of her during your quick conversation?
She appeared very distraught, very upset. Initially just trying to explain the situation to her about going to the hospital with the Section 12, and she was resistant to that.
And so when you say she was resistant to that, what if anything, did she say or do to?
She did not want to go.
Hold on. You cannot talk over each other, and the objection's overruled.
Please go ahead.
So what was the question again, please? Yeah.
So what, if anything, when you say she was resistant, what, if anything, did she communicate to you, or observations did you make in regard to that?
She did not want to go to the hospital, and she didn't think she needed any assistance.
And what, if anything, are you sort of, you mentioned you were explaining sort of the process to her, what, if anything, are you saying in that explanation?
Well, once a Section 12 gets written, it's written by the police. Once it's written, we are required to transport to the hospital. Section 12 means that they believe you're a threat to yourself or others. So you have to get evaluated at the hospital by the hospital staff there to see how mentally stable you are.
Now, at this time of this conversation, what, if anything, did you know as far as the relationship between Ms. Reed and the prior patient, Ms. Rose?
I knew they had a relationship. I wasn't sure if they were married or engaged or what their status was, but I knew she was did have a strong relationship with him.
And in reference to Ms. O'Keefe, during the conversation with Ms. Reed, what, if anything, was she asking or saying in reference to Ms. O'Keefe?
She kept repeating, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" She seemed very concerned about that. We're trying to explain to her that we cannot declare him dead. He's being evaluated. He's being treated. They're trying to treat him the best they can.
And as far as when she's stating these things to you, is this, as far as the sort of tonality of her voice while she's saying these things, can you describe that?
She was very up and down. It was a repetitive conversation with her. She's obviously experiencing a lot of different emotions. So just her emotional state was all over the place.
And as far as this sort of second time that you're on scene, about how long period of time are we talking about?
That was about between 15 and 20 minutes.
And as far as your conversation with Ms. Reed, where did you go? Did you stay with her sort of the entire time she was on scene that second time? Or?
Because she was resistant, we're trying to get her to voluntarily go. If someone voluntarily goes, even with the section written, they're released a lot quicker. So we're trying to convince her to go, be willing to go with us versus being forced. If at some point we have to actually force her to go against her will, then it's going to be a much longer hospital stay. So our main goal with staying on scene so long was to try to get her willingly to go. Just makes her experience much better.
And just to be clear, when you say we, who specifically are
It was me, Dan Whitley, Jason Becker were the ones talking to her in the back of the ambulance.
When you clear, or when you leave the scene, where is Miss Reed at?
So the ambulance transported her to the Good Samaritan. We also detailed Sam Park as the driver.
So the gentleman who had driven, or the firefighter that had driven you in the engine to the scene.
Yep. Yes,
Would
correct.
you say his name again, please?
Sam Park.
Sam what?
Sam Park.
Spell it, please. the last name.
P-O-C-H is the last
Oh,
name.
okay.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Okay. Eddie?
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Woodbury, you and I have never met or spoken before.
No.
I know you had said you were nervous, so I'm going to try and make
Okay,
this fairly brief,
thank you.
sir. I just have a couple of areas that I'd like to go
Okay.
through with. So to your interaction with Karen Reed and what you actually heard from her mouth.
Okay.
That's sort of where I want to concentrate, as opposed to anything that anybody else may have said to you about what they believe she might have said. Okay.
Okay.
And it seems to me that your main interaction with her was not when the initial call came in to respond to a man who was unresponsive in the snow. It was after you went back to the station in the engine and then came back to the scene for the purposes of the Section 12 that you described. Would that be fair to say?
Correct.
And when you came back to the scene for the Section 12, it's also fair to say that the Section 12 issue was your focus, correct?
Correct.
You had an order in hand, correct?
The police had it and they gave it to us when we got there.
Right. Okay. So you got an order in hand once you got there.
Correct.
Which is what you expected to happen. Correct?
Yes.
And your focus at that point is, okay, and I don't want to be too flip, but we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Is that a fair characterization?
That is one way to put it.
And you wanted to do it the easy way.
Yes, correct.
And you wanted to persuade Karen Reed that she should want to do it the easy way, correct?
Yes.
And after some conversation back and forth where she was initially resistant, she eventually agreed, yes, I'll do, not to put words in your mouth or hers, but to the effect of, yes, we'll do this the easy way, correct?
Did get her to agree to transport.
And with regard to her state of mind, I believe you had testified that she appeared to be very distraught,
Yes, correct.
going through a lot of emotions,
Yes.
grief-stricken,
That's one of them. Yes.
hysterical at times,
Yes.
raising her voice at times,
Yes.
crying at times.
I didn't see any actual tears, but
That
yeah,
type
of emotional display.
And so in terms of the only commentary that you heard with regard to her feelings or questions regarding John O'Keefe, it was the statements that you heard repetitively over and over and over again. Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead?
That was some of the things she was saying. Yes.
Lieutenant Woodbury, on your direct examination, you testified a bit, and I don't want to block the jury here, I'm sorry. You testified a bit about the injuries that you observed on John O'Keefe when you first arrived at the scene, correct?
Yes.
You testified about the swollen eye.
Yes.
You also testified about the scratch marks that you saw on his forearm, correct?
Correct.
I'd like to show you, I'm going to approach in a minute to show you what has been marked M for identification. And when I hand it to you, please keep it to yourself and look at it, and then look up at me when you're done, okay? Having reviewed M for identification, do you recognize what that depicts?
Yes.
What does it depict?
That is Mr. O'Keefe's right arm.
Does that
Hey,
photograph
guys.
appear to be a fair and accurate?
So I'm gonna
representation
totally
of
admit
the
that I
scratch
fell
marks that you
asleep.
observed on January 29th of
Holy
2022,
crap.
sir?
Yes.
I would offer that one.
Okay. That will be our next exhibit. And again, we'll have to.
I'm
maybe
so
lean on
tired. I have
Councilman
not
Freeze
been
leave today.
sleeping
We have to
well.
figure out how to.
Everybody that
Keep
is
everything straight.
here, thank you so much for coming. Let me just see. Malin. Terry, hey, Katie D, Jeannie Lynn, Dodo Dixon. Thank you guys for being here. I totally fell asleep for like the last 20 minutes and didn't even realize that people were here. Yeah. So I'm kind of bummed because that means I missed part of her testimony that I wanted to see, but that's okay. I can watch that a little bit on my own. But thank you guys for being here. Let's get through some of
With the
this.
court's permission, Your Honor, may I have that published on the screen for the jury?
Yes.
Now, on direct examination, Lieutenant, hang on, let me have a moment. With regard to the injuries that you described on direct examination.
Oh, good. Look at that. You've only been here 2 minutes, so I probably didn't need to admit that, but it's totally cool. I mean, when I first started today, no one was here chatting or anything, so I've been just listening. I was working on something, and I literally sat down on my couch, and I put my head back against my pillow to relax, and, like, next thing I know, I wake up in 20 minutes or whatever has gone by. I'm like, oops, oh, well. Well, thank you guys so much for being here.
I'm sorry. I need to. Please take this down for me. I need to counsel something.
Now, Lieutenant, with regard to the injuries that you observed, did you notice any lividity on the body when you were looking at John O'Keefe?
being hypothermic, he was very pale overall. So the skin wasn't pinked up yet. So it's hard to really judge the rest of the skin that way until it's warmed up and much later into the scene.
Okay, thank you, Malin.
Yes.
I have,
Thought it's like, bruising.
you know, it's
So
really
it's like
hard.
blood, in
to-
lower
oh,
sections.
sorry, hold on. It's really hard when you work midnight and you try to keep yourself awake at night when you don't work, you know, your regular job, and then everybody else streams in the late evening. So, you know, it's hard to work try to do a live, you know, around everybody else and try to squeeze these in, and it's not easy. So thank you. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you. Hey, Cheryl. I think I said hi to everybody. Thank you. 1.5 hours to go. Uh-oh. What's that? Oh, Katie, you just realized I have a channel? Oh my God. I just saw your comment way up here. Yes. I've been working on it the last couple weeks a lot. So I'm glad you're here. I have mentioned it and Becker shared it on his channel the other night, which was totally awesome. He's the one that got me way above 100 subs now, so it's totally cool. Oh, Cheryl, okay, you got an hour and a half to go at work. Okay, cool. Hopefully it'll go by fast now. Yes, Katie, I work midnight. So I work midnights, and that's why I'm normally in the chat late at night and early in the morning, very early in the morning, and then I sleep in the morning. And then when I wake up, I get back online, and you know, this is my hobby and break and relaxation is getting on YouTube and watching everybody. Aw, thank you. No, you're totally fine, Katie. I'm glad you found me. It's so awesome. Because I've done this spiel, and I didn't do it on this video because no one was here, so I haven't really been commenting, which is another reason I you know, fell asleep for a little bit. But I've been working on a video. Long story short, if you look at my description, it's, you know, my education and passion has always been in psychology. And I was working on a video regarding group thinking and like the anti-Karen Reed movement specifically. And it led me down a path of like, I can't really fully evaluate this because I never saw the first trial in its entirety. I've seen clips here and there, obviously, with everything that floats around YouTube. And I was like, well, why don't I see if anyone else wants to watch it? That's how I can start my channel and go from there. And I figured even if just a couple people join me here and then oh my God, I can't talk. Now and then, it's way more fun to do it that way than it is to do it by yourself. Because I'll be honest, this trial can be extremely boring, which is why I probably fell asleep a little bit. But when I'm not making fun of Lally's hair, I've done that many times already. That's the fun part. But anyways, I figured it'd be a lot more fun, few people here and there to watch it with, instead of trying to do it by myself. I figured if I tried to watch this whole trial by myself, I would end up putting it off and then not getting it done. So here we are. So thank you guys. Daunting too. Oh, it's almost midnight where you are, Dodo. Yeah, I don't blame you. But thank you for being here while you can. Yeah, it's definitely daunting. Or lack thereof of Lally's hair. Yeah. Katie, okay, so yes, since you haven't been here, it drives me nuts that his age, and I still haven't figured out how old he is. No, Google doesn't even know how old he is, but I had guessed that he's around 50 years old. Okay. And whenever I look at that sideways mohawk he's got going on with all that gel, you know how when you picture someone like, you know, just like something that really is off about them and you wonder why they do things like that or whatever, maybe whatever. So when I picture him getting ready in the morning, like he's so nervous for court that he's trying to do his hair and he keeps scooping all that gel out and he's like, oh my God, I can't get my hair perfect. No. And he just keeps scooping gel. And the next thing you know, he looks down at his thing and he's like, oh my God, it's all gone and my hair is not right. Oh my God, I'm going to have to stop and get some more gel on my way to court today. That's what I see when I picture him trying to do his hair. It's so like he's got so much crap in there. Oh, yesterday we were just talking. It's like, why don't you just shave that off, bro? Seriously, he'd look so much better. Just shave that off. So yeah. And this one, because I missed because I fell asleep at the end of Katie McLaughlin's testimony. I will have to go back and watch that myself because I wanted to see the rest of that. I didn't know how far we'd get. This is Lieutenant Gregory Woodbury. I don't even think I've ever heard of him. The next one is Daniel Whitley. The next two are really short too, so we'll probably get through these next three. So we got this one, Gregory Woodbury, Daniel Whitley, and Jason Becker. And then after that is Lieutenant Paul Gallagher. So depends on, I don't know how late I'll go today. Depends on how late you guys are, wanting to watch it. I'm not sure what time I'll stream over the weekends. The only reason I did 5 o'clock for the trial this week is because everybody was watching the Corey Richens trial. And I was trying to make it a time where, people were done watching that if they wanted to hop over here, So I'm going to figure out, what's best for everyone over the weekend. I will probably do because tomorrow, of course, is Turtle Boy, and who knows if Glare is going to go live tomorrow. And I'm sure Rat House Media does a pregame show for Turtle Boy. So if I do something tomorrow, it'll probably be in the early afternoon, depending on how long I sleep tomorrow. So stay tuned. Do you watch the trials when they were going on? Although all I would talk about is how bad I think Lally smells. Oh, I don't even want to think about what he smells like, Katie. Oh. See, now I don't want to ask you what you think he'd smell like. See, that's the thing. I didn't watch the first trial. I watched the second trial. So, and Brennan, we can talk about Brennan later because I could go off the next hour talking about his voice alone drives me up a wall. But to me, to be honest, when I look at Lally, you know what I think of he smells like is hair gel. You know that awful, almost mentholated, nasty hair gel smelling, like that cheap off the dollar store, minty mentholated gel smell. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but that's what I see. What I think. He's a chain smoker. Oh, I didn't know he was. See, I didn't know that. So. Yeah, now mix that with smoke. Yeah, Bengay. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, that mentholated Bengay and then add a bunch of cigarette smoke. So then, yeah, that's exactly what I would think you would smell like. Gross. All right. I don't know who this guy is. I've never seen
So
him.
for a cardiac arrest patient,
Not
when they
very-
have lividity, it looks like bruising on the underside where all the blood is pooled.
He's almost
We
over.
did not really notice that.
But it's not actually bruising from an injury. It's just the blood.
Settling down. It's the same thing. Yes.
One at a time, please.
Yeah, sorry. It appears like bruising, and bruising is basically pooling of blood under the skin. So this is lividity is just gravity fed pooling of blood under the skin. And it usually happens what is the section of the body that is lowest.
Okay, now, with regard to the scratches that you've testified about and that you now observe on Exhibit 382, I believe, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your testimony on direct examination was that you observed them in the forearm area, correct?
It was the right, like forearm to arm. I was trying to signal right up here, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not,
Yeah.
It wasn't just on the
Just,
forearm.
not just, it was the arm area. You know, mostly what I noticed was forearm, but there was some around there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it wasn't just below the
It
elbow.
wasn't up just below the elbow.
There was some above the
Yes.
elbow as well?
Yep.
That's consistent with Exhibit 382?
Correct.
I understand, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
No further questions.
Mr. Lally, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Lieutenant, thank you very much. So you're all set.
There we go. Next one's coming up. Hold on. Oh, Kitty, you wrote. One day during trial one, I had chat going on what cologne AJ wears. Oh,
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
hold on. Because you know he smells divine. Oh, yeah, he does. And what Lally smells like, it was hilarious. I would have loved to see that, Katie. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Now, I wonder what kind of cologne Alan Jackson wears, because I'll be honest, like, I don't really know very expensive colognes, but I think it's Polo Club is one of my favorites. Like the very subtle one. It's a very subtle one in a blue bottle. Oh my God. See, that is what something I picture he would smell like, but I'm sure he buys something way better than even that one. So, but Lally now, it's grossing me out. Oh.
Thank you.
All right, so Daniel Whitley is only 25 minutes. And this goes, I have to say, in watching already all this shit from Lally, who he's calling on the stand, he is ridiculous in calling all of these people, just like he was ridiculous giving so many freaking names in his opening statement that made no sense to the jury, who knows nothing of who these people are. They don't know about this trial, or very little, or they wouldn't have been picked for the jury. And he goes off and names like every single person that was mentioned in this case. And you're like, who is that? What'd you just say? Watching Lally's opening was brutal. Oh my God. And so he's doing the same thing with his witnesses. He's calling all these people. It's like, what are you calling them for? It makes no sense.
Daniel Whitley, Whitley.
And what do you do for us?
I'm a paramedic firefighter with the Town of Canton Fire Department.
And how long have you been a member of the Canton Fire?
I was hired in March of '06.
And prior to that, work with the Canton Fire Department, did you work within that same field in any other capacity for any other company?
Yes, correct. I worked for American Medical Response out of Brockton as an EMT intermediate and a paramedic for 5 years.
And you're a certified paramedic, is that correct?
Correct.
And how long have you held that certification?
It was, I believe, November of 2006 that I got that certification.
And is there any sort of continuing educational component or recertification process that's involved with being a certified paramedic?
Yes, we recertify every 2 years. We're required to hold basic life support card, which is just generally CPR, and advanced cardiac life support, which is ACLS. It's more dealing with EKGs and how to run resuscitations, cardiac arrests, things of that nature.
Now, sir, if I could
Sounds
turn your
good.
attention to
Yeah.
January 28th.
Yeah, I don't know what that
2020,
smells like,
we worked
but
with the Canton Fire Department.
yeah,
They-
that sounds about
what
right.
shift were you working?
He's a little
24-hour
upscale there.
shift, 8 a.m. to 8 a.m.
And where were you assigned?
Yeah.
The Ponquag Station.
Exactly. Thanks.
Lockbox
I
is
got
where
into
it's
that the other day about
the
the
north side
snow.
of town on South Street.
Mhm. You have to
And
go back
how
maybe
were you assigned to a specific duty or a specific?
and watch
yes,
a couple
I was
lines if you ever
assigned to
have
ambulance
a
team,
chance.
with
You
Jason
get
Becker
into
as
his hair and
I was a
stuff
field
the
training
other
officer at that
day,
point,
and it's
and he was just finishing
good.
up his
And
field training after he recently.
last week, every Thursday, last night I was on live with Crispy Treat. If you've seen her in the chats around, me and her are gonna start doing just a shoot the shit, spill the tea kind of show every Thursday night at 9:30, and then after I'm done with not after, I might start it before the trial's done. I'm trying to do another night that's for me and to go off around more of the psychological aspects and of the drama in the YouTube community, and just I'm just trying to find my footing doing this YouTube thing, but I think my description that I wrote is like the best way I could put what I want my channel to be. I thought long and hard about what to write. It's short and sweet, but I think it explains it pretty good. I'm so happy you guys are all here. Thank you so much.
Recently became certified as a paramedic.
And now, at some point shortly after 6 a.m., were you aware of a call or dispatch in regard to Station House 1?
Yes, we had just returned from a previous call about 5 a.m. and heard the tones go off. Actually, we were in the day room, which is where we basically it's the living room of a fire station. And we heard the tones go off, we heard the police going to Fairview Road. And we just kind of sat and were wondering what was going on there.
Now, you yourself, you and Firefighter Becker, were you dispatched to a call as well, approximately 6:41 or 6:42 a.m.?
Yes.
And at the time that you received that dispatch, what, if anything, were you aware of with regard to the prior call that the other ambulance was?
So when the tones go off between the two stations, we're able to hear what the dispatch complaint is, what they're going for, and it came in as, I believe, CPR in progress in the snow or something to that regard. So we knew it was a fairly serious call that Station 1 had gone to.
Now, when you received your dispatch at approximately 6:42 a.m. or so, what was that call in regards to, and where did you respond?
We were dispatched for a Section 12.
And as far as your assignments within the ambulance between yourself and Firefighter Becker, with regard to this call, who was doing what?
I was driving. He's what we call the tech, the lead paramedic on the case. That's just generally how we operate.
And from your response, or your driving from Station 2 to Fairview Road, what, if anything, did you observe or experience en route in between the two?
At that point, it was snowing pretty heavily. We were coming down Chapman Street, getting ready.
And I'm convinced, just like the picture, I went over this too, Katie, that with the snow, and what he's trying to do is give the jury a false sense of how much snow was on the ground that morning and throughout the night that this all happened, or when it could have happened and whatever. And he's, I lost my train of thought. Oh, with the picture they keep showing of 34 Fairview, it's totally deceiving on how big that yard is. If I had not seen the actual video, like a video of them showing from from a different point of view, a camera from the lawn or from the curb to the house and stuff, and moving an actual video camera, you would think that a yard is huge, and it's not. It's tiny. So you think when he tries to play off that there was this much snow and the yard is huge, so yeah, that's why everyone who went to their car and left didn't see him on the lawn. Bullshit. They would have seen him.
Take the right onto Fairview. We nearly slid off the road making the turn on Fairview. It was snowing that heavily, and I don't believe the roads had been really plowed or treated or anything like that for us to. So it was pretty slippery.
Now, in addition to ambulance number 2 that you and Firefighter Becker were in, what, if any, other sort of vehicles or apparatus was dispatched to this call as well?
There was engine 3, which is the District 1 engine.
And by the way, I've already learned, don't make what if any or what if anything a thinking game. I'm so sick of those freaking 3 words.
And at least 2 police cruisers. And then another gray SUV kind of further down from where we parked.
Now, when you arrive in this area on Fairview Road, what, if anything, do you sort of observe as far as who's there when you arrive?
When I got out, my Lieutenant Woodbury and Sam Park were there.
And they were on the engine, is that correct?
They were on the engine, correct?
Now, beyond sort of personnel from your department, you mentioned that there were some police officers there as well?
Yes, Melania and Sarah, and then 2 other females, at least 2 other females.
And the other 2 females, where were they when you first sort of get out of the engine?
A few yards ahead of us, a few dozen yards ahead of us, I'd say.
And were there any other vehicles beyond sort of first responders that you observed on?
Just that other gray SUV.
And so I guess my question is, where were the 2 females that you observed in relation to the gray SUV?
Near it, maybe in front of, maybe one was inside. There were 3.
Yeah, I totally agree, Katie. Like I said, when I first saw it, when I think it was in the second trial, they used one of the same pictures they used in the second trial. And when I saw the first picture pulled up here, I was like, and then they showed it. Lally showed the same picture like 4 times already. And it's insane because I think it was Turtle Boy where I saw that video. I know a couple of people have done videos and things from there about it now. But the very first one I saw back then, watching the second trial, and how small that yard is, I was like, God, it's so deceiving. And now watching this trial back, because I've never seen it. And seeing how many times he uses that freaking photo, the same photo that makes that yard look so big, he was doing that on purpose. Lally leads so much on direct. Oh yeah, I've already saw that too. A what if anything drinking game would be bad news for bad news bears for sure. Oh my god, I used to love that movie when I was little. Anybody else watch that movie, Bad News Bears? I think there was two. A second one too. Oh my god, I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. Oh yeah, you'd be dead on the floor in less than 5 minutes. Holy moly.
Female staff.
And at some point while you're on scene, you learn the identity of the patient, correct?
Yes.
And what was the name of the patient?
Karen Reed.
And you had some conversation with Karen Reed that day, is that correct?
Yes.
And do you see Karen Reed in the courtroom?
I do.
Could you just describe as to where she's seated or an article of clothing that she's wearing?
She's seated right at that table right there.
I'm sorry, if you could just point as to where she's seated.
Right here.
No, just that's record reflect identification.
Okay.
Now, when you first sort of arrive on scene, who, if anyone, is the first person that you saw?
Lieutenant Woodbury and Sam Falk.
And following that conversation, who, if anyone, you speak to?
Probably briefly Lieutenant Mulaney, but more, Officer Mulaney and Officer Saraf.
Now, following your conversation, let me ask you this sort of in general terms. When you respond to a call for Section 12, what is sort of the protocol that you go through in regard?
Whether it's a Section 12 or any call, basically, the lead tech generally takes over immediate patient care, goes over, assesses. Usually the partner will go over and try and find out background details, try and find not only, well, especially for Section 12, you want to get, the tech will get, which is Jason's role, the patient story, and then I'll get everyone else's story.
And at some point, you have a conversation with Ms. Reed as well.
Oh, yes.
And where is that in relation to vehicles on scene? So what is that initial conversation?
The initial conversation, she was very upset. She kept saying, so we had a Section 12 written, and that was to take her to the hospital because she made threats against her life, saying, I don't want to live anymore. If my husband dies, I don't want to be alive anymore. And myself and Jason and Lieutenant Wood.
They weren't married, so I highly doubt she said my husband. Didn't anybody else catch that?
We're kind of like, well, that's seemingly more in the lines of normal grieving process after something traumatic happens to a loved one, whether they're going to die or not. We kind of didn't feel like it kind of led to that level of a Section 12 to have her transported to the hospital. So at that point, I exited the ambulance and I went to speak with Officer Saraf, and I said, this kind of doesn't. If we wanted to be at the hospital, get a full eval, we're going to need more than just.
Yeah, I
if
don't
my
think
husband
so
dies,
either.
I want to die, because that seems just like normal grieving things to say. And so I went back to the ambulance. He went. I don't know where he went. I don't know whether it was cruiser or what. But he came back, notified me that her
Sustained.
And from that conversation, did you receive more information and more clarity as to statements that Ms. Reed had made?
Yes, Officer Saraf had said that.
Objection.
So not what he said, sir. So
We
You
were
are
informed
unmuted.
that.
Objection.
I'm not sure.
so you can't testify to what somebody else told you. You can when there's no objection regarding what Ms. Reed told you,
Okay.
but you can't testify what anybody else told you.
Okay.
So when I say sustain, that means you have to stop, and,
Okay.
and the lawyer will ask another question. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
He's
Brian.
so condescending.
Firefighter Whitley, at some
Like, I'm sorry. She's just ridiculous. Like, ugh. Oh, you're good, Katie. Oh, it happens to me all the time. Don't worry. I'm too distracted by his teeth sucking. It doesn't make I'm Thank you for making me laugh, Toto. Yeah, no, that's not normal. I mean, yes, it's normal to like express that you can't live without somebody, something like that. But when you make specific statements that I want to do something to myself or I want to, you can't single-handedly make that decision by one, and I highly doubt he's even remotely close to saying what she actually said to him, considering he just said, oh, she said my husband. No, she didn't, because they're not married. So you probably had everything else wrong too, and you just didn't care.
At some point, specific to your conversations with the defendant, can you describe sort of her demeanor or any observations you made in relation to that as you were speaking?
Yeah, she was very upset. She kept asking if there was any chance. She kept asking us if we knew if the person ambulance 1 had transported was alive or dead, and
You know,
we could not
I'm
speak.
so sick of these people saying, oh, she was so erratic. She was so upset. She was so. Wouldn't you be seriously? If you found your significant other, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, 2 years, your wife, your husband, your whatever, lying on the ground, knowing that he's probably not going to survive, wouldn't you be erratic and emotional and a wreck too? They say it like it's like how she was just acting ridiculous. Like she shouldn't have been acting like that. They say it like that, not that, oh my, yeah, she was really emotional because this was a traumatic experience, dude. So what exactly, Katie? I'd be erratic too. I'd be freaking out too. I'd be doing all those things too. Jeez. But it's like they're judging her. Like she shouldn't have acted that way. It's every one of them says it. They all say it the same kind of way. Like she's just a crazy person.
To that. She asked if somebody could be alive in the snow without a jacket for many hours. And at that point, we were just trying to give her any hope that whomever A1 transported was still alive. And we kind of just talked about far off hypothermia cases where, you know, kids have fallen in rivers and been submerged for many minutes, maybe even hours, and survived with no neurological deficits. So we were just trying to give her some sort of hope.
Exactly, Katie.
On the way to the hospital.
Exactly. If she hadn't been erratic and crying and emotional and freaking out, then they would say she didn't have any feelings, that she was a cold bitch and she knew what she did and she this and she that. Of course, exactly. Like it doesn't matter. I saw an interview with her. I don't know which one it was. It wasn't the whole interview, it was a clip about they were talking about how she was smiling and that, but asking her, did she do it? And she didn't laugh, but she kind of smiled. And the person that was asking her the questions, you know, brought that up. And she's like, well, I'm so tired of being judged by my facial expressions. Did I look up? Did I look left? Did I look right? Did I smile? Did I frown? Did I this? And that's the problem. You know, she's like, should I just answer like this? And she opens her eyes real wide and she just stares straight ahead. And she's like, I did not kill John. Like, and that's it. Like, because no matter how she says it, people are going to judge it. It's sad, but true. Yeah. All I see when I look at him is that red bird from the Angry Birds game. Those eyes, I see it. The silver fox better, yeah. Dodo, you got me cracking up, you guys. Thank you. And this is another reason why I like streaming and having someone to chat with here too, because in all this drama and stress, I say this every time too, but it's so important that people realize that even in seriousness, you have to find some levity, something to laugh and smile about, because if you don't, you're just going to live your life so depressed and sad, and it's not worth living that way. These are serious topics, don't get me wrong, but you have to find levity sometimes. You just do. Yep, those rosy cheeks. Is it just me, or do they seem to be getting redder and redder the longer he's on the stand?
That
Oh, come on now, computer. There we go.
there was a chance that her husband could be alive.
Now, at this point.
Not her
If
husband.
anything, did you know about sort of the relationship between your patient, the defendant, Ms. Reed, and the patient from ambulance 1 that had been transported previously?
She identified him as her husband
And is that something that she said once or more than once?
many, many times.
Oh no, you're good, Katie. It's so funny that you say that, because I think it's every day now this week I've had someone say, sorry, I'm distracting you, or Mary B did it, and I think Cheryl did, or somebody else did the other day, and I'm like, no, I appreciate it, because this is what I wanted. I don't want to make this just another boring stream where because you can watch this all by yourself, but this is why I wanted to do it this way. For anyone who wanted to revisit this trial or watch it for the first time like I am, to have a little fun doing it and chat. That's exactly why I wanted to do it. So no, I'm never going to tell anyone to shut the fuck up. Never.
Now, she asked you some questions about his status and made specific reference to his clothes. Is that correct?
The only thing I recall is asking if he could have survived without a jacket.
Now, as far as these conversations that you had with Ms. Reed, where did they occur in relation to the ambulance?
They were in the back of the ambulance.
And who, if anyone, was present in the back of the ambulance beyond yourself and anything?
Jason Becker.
And with reference to
Did you
mentioned
just say what,
Firefighter
if
Becker.
anyone was in the back of the ambulance, instead of who? Hold on. Just got to make fun of this because it's funny.
These conversations that you had with Ms. Reed, where did they occur in relation to the ambulance?
They were in the back of the ambulance.
And who, if anyone, was present in the back of the ambulance beyond yourself and anything?
What, if
Jason Becker.
anyone, was in the back of the ambulance? What, if anyone? Not who, if anyone.
And with
Oh,
reference to, you mentioned that Firefighter Becker was sort of the lead paramedic or the lead tech on this. Is that correct?
Yes.
So is there?
oh
some
my
sort of role in
God.
your role, what are some of the sort of differences in the duties and responsibilities in relation?
Dodo, I'm going to have to make one now. Hold on a second. While we listen to the rest of him, I'm going to make one for you. I just like to respect all channel rules. Every creator is different. I love and respect that. Yeah, totally. Totally. I love it. You guys make as many comments as you want. This is what I wanted. It's amazing, you guys. What, if anyone? So, yep. I'm going to make a googly eye picture. Hold on. While we listen to the rest of his testimony, I'm going to post it for you guys. Hold on.
So for any Section 12 or
At Dodo's request, we're
department
going to
policy
get
is,
googly eyes.
there'll be 2 EMTs, paramedics, firefighters with during transport at all times. That's both for our safety and the patient safety. So that's why it wasn't just 2 EMTs or paramedics driving to the hospital. I was in back with Jason, and Sam Clark was driving.
Now, as far as you testified earlier about observations of her being set or distraught, is that correct?
Correct.
Was that consistent throughout your interaction with her, or?
No. There would be episodes where she would go from crying in her hands to all of a sudden perking up. She was crying about having to take care of kids, saying she couldn't do it. And I was saying, you can do this. It's not as hard as it seems. She kept saying, I can't take care of these kids. They're not my kids and they're not his kids. That's when I figured out who ambulance 1 transported. And I was saying, well, it seems like you have a good, strong support system. People who came and helped you in a blizzard to help come find your husband. She said, she asked me if I knew Carrie Roberts. I said I did. She said anybody who knows Carrie Roberts wouldn't say those things. And that kind of took me aback a bit. It seemed strange to say something like that after you were just crying because your husband was dead.
Take you back just within.
I was just kind of surprised.
If I could take you back within that just for a minute. So you had testified that during that her description, you sort of realized who was the patient in ambulance 1. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what, if anything, made you realize, or who did you think it was?
I live in and grew up in the Ponquag neighborhood of Canton, and Mr. O'Keefe was known for taking on his niece and nephew after, I'm not sure positive of the relationship, but I believe it was his sister and his brother-in-law passed away. and it was something people admired him for, people looked up to him for. But I was able to, I also, I moved into the Park neighborhood back after living outside of Canton for a few years. Keeps lived diagonally across from me. I never had any sort of interaction with him or anything. When I moved in, my wife was probably about 6 months pregnant, and I had 2 toddlers, so I was pretty busy. I figured he was pretty busy. I never even had a chance to introduce myself or anything before he moved to Meadows, which is how I kind of figured out.
Your Honor, I object to this line of question.
Okay, next, sustain. Next question.
Now, you had also mentioned during your conversation with the defendant that she had said some things about Kerry Roberts, correct?
Correct.
And how is it that you know Kerry Roberts?
Well, Kerry lives around the corner from me.
Objection.
No, I'll allow that. Next question, please.
How long have you known Kerry Roberts?
Just from moving back into the neighborhood, she would run the neighborhood block party, and she put out that she would like the fire truck there on the neighborhood Facebook page. So I volunteered to bring the fire truck to the neighborhood block party.
And was Ms. Roberts seen on Fairview when you arrived in your ambulance?
Yes.
So she was one of the other females along with the defendant?
Correct.
Now, with reference to when you brought up as far as support system, including Ms. Roberts within that, what, if anything, did the defendant say about Ms. Roberts?
Objection.
Sustain. Next question, please.
This conversation that you had with the defendants in the ambulance, about how long a period of time are we talking about?
20, 25 minutes.
And beyond what you've already testified to, what did sort of that conversation consist of, or what was the sort of tone and tenor of that conversation?
Again, we were just trying to give her any support. She was, once we were getting closer to the hospital, we
Objection.
So the tone and tenor. So what can you tell us about that? That's admissible, Ms. Giannetti. Go ahead.
Hey, Cheryl, glad
tone,
to have you back.
she would go from being almost despondent
I'm making a
to
googly-eyed
when she asked me if I knew Kerry Roberts. The
what's
only
his face?
tone I can use to describe it is snarky.
Daniel Whitley
Move to
or
strike.
I'll
Dodo.
strike that.
Now, you transported to Good Samaritan, is that correct?
Correct.
Hold
And when
on.
you, during the transport, where are you in relation to Ms. Reed from Fairview to Good Samaritan?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
During the transports, Ms. Reed is where within the ambulance?
I believe we have what we call a check bench, which is a long bench. There's the ambulance stretcher, and then next to the ambulance stretcher is we call it the CPR seat, and then that's where Miss Reed sat. And then I was in what we call the airway seat, which is basically like a captain's chair behind the.
Get my
And
Archer,
in addition
yeah,
to yourself and
someone's going
defendant, what
dead.
anyone else was sort of in the back of the ambulance at that time?
During transport, it was just me, Jason Becker, and Miss Reed.
Oh, I got another good one too. So I got 2 good photos
Same
to
pocket.
share with you guys.
When
Hold
you
on.
arrived at Good Samaritan, what if anything happened?
Miss Reed was asking to be able to see John.
I'm
And,
totally addicted to chat GPT
I made the decision
now.
that I would run ahead to see if that was in the realm of possibility with the emergency room physician there. So I ran ahead. I came into they call it the code room at Good Sam, and I asked if the wife could see the husband. The ER doctor asked if she would be upset. I said if she would be upset if she was allowed to or not. And I said she's going to be upset. I believe she's going to be upset either way. He was asking if she would get in the way of the resuscitation efforts, and I said it's possible she's very upset.
And so once you arrive at the hospital with the patient, where do you go along with Ms. Reed?
We escorted her down to we call it the psych hall or the behavioral hall at Good Sam.
And about how long was it after you escorted her into the hospital that you stayed with her following that?
At least 10 minutes.
And during those 10 minutes, how would you describe sort of her behavior or demeanor during that time?
Objection.
No, he can testify to that.
He was giving the nurses a hard time about, I'm sorry, she was giving the nurses a hard time about having to get into a Johnny, about having to submit a urine sample. Even the AR techs went to the physician who was in the code room to see if she could not have to wear a Johnny. And the ER doc said, no, if she's in psych hall, she's a psych patient, needs to be in a Johnny. So at that point, there was just a nurse and a tech. We don't usually leave a psych patient with just a single nurse and a tech. So we decided to wait until security had gone there before we left.
May I have one moment?
Yes.
Nothing further at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Giannetti.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, Mr. Whitley, when you showed up, you learned that Karen Reed was the patient that you were to deal with, correct?
Correct.
And it was your expectation that she would be going to the hospital, correct?
Correct.
One of the things that you do when you transport somebody to the hospital is you try to get a medical history, correct?
Yep.
Why is that important?
generally, we get pertinent medical history to pass on to the hospital. So if something were to happen where the patient wasn't able to describe their past medical history, it gets passed on to the next caregiver, which would be the nurses, doctors at the hospital.
Okay. More information is always better than less information, correct?
I would say so.
And with regard to Ms. Reed, did you take a
Oh
medical
my
history
God,
from her?
my computer is so slow.
I assume Jason did.
Okay. Did you learn the results of that medical history?
Wait till you
you'd
get
have
these,
to refer to
see these
Jason's report.
pictures I just made. They're funny. Get you guys to laugh.
Yes.
I named my chat GPT Harvey, and trust me, he definitely wants to cancel my subscription daily. Yeah, I gotta give my chat GPT a name now too.
Jason Becker, correct? The other is a police
I
report
made
from
mine
her
mail too that
I'm gonna
talks
do
back
the
to me in
second
a
page of
British
So let's
accent.
do them one at a time.
Sure. And you've asked
I love
for
it.
Jason Becker's report, so I'll give you that first, okay? And when I approach you, I'm going to hand this to you, and I just ask you to look at it silently by yourself,
Okay.
and then look up at me when you're done.
Okay.
I'm going to collect that for you, if you don't mind.
The first report was the first report from my lieutenant.
Was Jason Becker's report included in
Yes.
this? Well?
Yep.
Here we
Have you
go.
reviewed those documents? Does that
Hold
refresh your
on.
memory as to the medical?
I'm gonna pause Mr. Whitley here as I pull up these photos. There's your googly eyes, Dodo. And then I got another one for you. Oh my God, I love Suits. I love Harvey. He's awesome. That's okay. I like him too. I love that show. All right, got another one for you. Hold on. Here you go. How about that one, guys? This is why I love Chat GPT. It make you laugh all day long. He's my alter ego. That's awesome. One episode and I suddenly feel like I take out. Yes, he does. He makes you feel that way. I'm not kidding, Katie. I do the same thing. I rewatched that show like 6 times. No joke. And every time I want to punch Lit in the face until he becomes funny again. Because he gets so annoying after a while. Lewis Lit. Let's get lit the fuck up. I love his cups though. Pretty funny. The eyebrows. That's to you, Dodo. And I think you made both comments about him looking like the Angry Bird and the googly eyes. So those are dedicated to you. Those eyebrows, I tell you, they're awesome. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing now. All right. Let's get back to this guy, the real one.
Medical history that was taken?
Yes.
And what can you tell us?
Poor
about that?
Lewis, yeah.
Just lists multiple sclerosis.
He gets me so angry. I want to punch him through the TV.
It's a
But then I like him again when he gets
neurodegenerative disease
gets
where
all-
the myelin sheeting of
I don't
sheeting
know.
of the,
It's hard to explain if you don't, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
trying to feel the word here, but
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I understand.
I'm sure you do. It's a disease.
It's a disease that's progressive and
You're
has,
welcome, Dodo. I
neurological
appreciate
control things involved with it.
And when you say
the
progressive,
creative,
that means it gets worse over time. as you age.
what's the
As I
word I'm
understand it.
looking for?
And that was the medical history you
Inspiration.
got from Kennedy?
Correct.
I'm not confessing.
All right. So, sir, you are all set. Thank you, Mr. Whitley.
All right. Who's next? I forgot. Donna. It's like a name and a title in one. Yes.
Thank you.
I wish her
Good
you
afternoon.
could like
Could you, state
I
your name and
almost
spell your last name, please,
unlock
sir?
First name Jason, last name's Becker, B-E-C-K.
that machine they made. What they called it, the Donna. So it's hard to say, but like, no, where she talks back at you. If I could make my chat GPT talk like Donna, I would. That would be amazing. Like, give me some aspirations for today.
And,
All
what is
right,
your
so we
form?
got Jason Becker on the stand
And,
right
how long
now.
have you been a member of the Canton Fire Department?
5.5 years.
And prior to that, what if any other employment did you have sort of within that same field?
I worked at Found Ambulance and Social Hospital.
How long did you work at each of those respective positions?
Found Ambulance was about 5 years. Social Hospital, approximately 3 years.
And with regard to Central Hospital, what is it that you did there?
I was a nursing assistant in the emergency room.
And with regard to your work as a firefighter paramedic for the Canton Fire Department, you were a certified paramedic?
Yes.
And when did you first receive that certification?
October 2021.
Is that something that you received, or when you received that, is something that goes on in perpetuity, or is that something that you have a continuing educational component or recertification?
Con Ed education, every 2 years you have to recertify.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to January 28th, 2022 into January 29th, 2022. Were you working on that occasion?
I was
And where were you assigned? I'm sorry, what type of shift were you working on that occasion?
what type of shift?
Yes, like what hour to what hour?
8 a.m. to 8 a.m., 24 hours.
So 8 a.m. on the 28th until 8 a.m. on the 29th.
Correct.
And where were you assigned on that day?
I was at Canton Station 2, Ambulance 2.
And who, if anyone else, was assigned with you to Ambulance 2 at Station 2 on that day?
Daniel Whitley, Firefighter Daniel Whitley.
Now, at some point when you were working on the 29th, shortly after 6 a.m. or so, did you become aware of a call for Station House number 1?
Yes.
And what, if anything, were you aware of as far as that earlier call?
As far as we know, it was a man down the road, initial, and I believe it was upgraded eventually to CPR in progress.
Now, at some point following that, approximately 6:41 a.m. or so, did you, your station, dispatch to Fairview Road?
Yes. A psych eval, possible section 12.
And in addition to yourself and Firefighter Whitley and Ambulance 2, what, if any, other?
Oh yeah, you know what's funny about that, Katie, is I had to look up how you could make your chat GPT go a little like raunchy, because I'm like, I was watching Jimmy have his conversation and I'm like, how is he getting these responses? I'm like, my stupid chat GPT won't even swear, for heaven's sakes. And then when you look it up, it says it's programmed not to swear or be this and that, and then there's all these rules that you can get to like bypass it. So I had to so like bypass it. I'm like, I need you to be a little bit more crude. I swear a lot. I can't have you being all nice to me, because then I'll feel like shit swearing at my chat GPT.
That call.
Canton Engine 3.
And if you know who, if anyone, was on Canton Engine 3 at that time?
Lieutenant Greg Woodbury, Firefighter Sam Park.
So let me ask you this: between sort of call volume, what, if any, sort of policy or protocol is there as far as who does what on a particular call?
We switch off.
And so on this particular call that you were dispatched to Fairview Road, what were sort of each of your respective duties and responsibilities between yourself and Firefighter Whitley?
Firefighter Whitley was the driver at that point, and it was my tech, is what it's called. So the next patient would be mine.
And so as sort of the lead tech on this, is that correct?
Correct.
And so as far as the lead tech's role, what, if any, duties or responsibilities do you have in regard to running a report?
It's my report. That'd be right.
May I approach this?
Yes.
The documents is that you review that document.
The first report up here is the engines. Second one would be mine.
You recognize the first few pages of that as the engines report, and the last few are yours, correct?
Correct.
And that's your report with relation to this dispatch and this call, correct?
Correct.
May I approach you, January?
Yes.
I want to see you introduce in a minute, isn't it?
So both reports through this witness? Is there any objection?
May I just take a look at the DA's copy? Yes, sir. When you first sort of arrive in the area of 34, when you arrive in the area of Fairview Road, what, if anything, is it that you first observe upon your arrival?
Coming down the street or on scene?
Yes, coming down.
Coming down the street, see the police lights. You can see the fire engine, and I believe it says one black SUV.
And where is it that you and the ambulance were parked in reference to those other vehicles that you see?
I believe we parked. The SUV was facing towards us. We parked to the left. I don't recall what the police cruiser was though.
And when you first arrived there, who, if anyone, is it that you first speak with when you get there?
When we got on the ambulance, I passed Officer Saraf and Officer Mulaney. They kind of reached us, and then I walked over to the black SUV.
And when you walk over to the black SUV, who is it that you observe in that black SUV?
I saw two females.
And of those two females, do you see one of them in the courtroom today?
I do.
Could you just identify as where she's seated or an article of clothing that she's wearing?
Right over there, the jacket.
That's the record reflect identification of the defendant.
Okay.
Now, with respect to the defendant, Ms. Reed, where within the vehicle is she when you first come up to the vehicle?
When I remember, she was in the front passenger seat.
And what, if any, knowledge did you have as far as the defendant, Ms. Reed, and her relationship to the earlier call that ambulance wanted to dispatch?
Very little. I think we had gotten briefed that she was the wife of the previous patient.
And was that
Not
something that
the
she
wife.
stated or something that somebody else said? Where does that awareness
I
come from?
believe it was one of the Canton police officers that said it.
I'm sorry, what was that answer?
It was one of the Canton police officers.
Okay.
And so when you walk up to the car, what is it that you say to her? What, if any, conversation did you have with Ms. Reed at that?
So I went up to the window and introduced myself and just kind of asked what was going on.
And how did she respond to that?
She was kind of, she was distraught. She was crying. She kind of told us that the statements she may have made, she didn't mean it because of the current events that she had just gone through.
What, if anything, did she say about that? What, if anything, did she say about what she had gone through?
That she had just done CPR on her husband.
And so she referred to him as her husband as well?
Yes.
And this conversation that you had sort of at the side of the SUV, is that through the door, through the window?
From what I recall, it was through the window.
And at some point, this conversation moved to the ambulance?
Correct.
About how long was the conversation at the vehicle before the conversation shifted to the ambulance?
5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, Beverly,
And as
stop
far as,
freaking
you just have to reflect
sighing.
on section 12,
Hi,
correct?
Gingy.
Can you explain to
Thanks
the jury
for
sort of that
coming.
process, just in general terms first, as far as what does that process entail?
You guys can
Well,
all
Nancy,
hear
for a
Auntie
second.
Bob sighing in
We
that
go and see
freaking
him, we count the
microphone
environment,
too, right?
So like see if the patient's
Drives
cooperative,
me
not cooperative,
nuts.
what their demeanor is, if there's any obvious self-harm. If there's none, you kind of go up, talk to them, get a report, and ask them some basic triage questions.
And is that sort of the policy or the protocol of what you followed in this instance with Ms. Reed?
Correct.
Now, beyond what she had indicated to you initially, what, if anything, was she asking you during the course of your conversation with her once you were in the ambulance?
She kept asking if he was dead or could he be dead.
Is that something that she said once or more than once or something?
More than once.
And could you describe sort of the tone of her voice when she was saying?
It was
What
pretty-
does it matter?
Kind of
Here
like
we go again.
It was a rapid kind of pressure speech. She was just a lot repetitive.
She
And
was
as you were speaking with her,
distraught.
what, if any,
She just found her significant other basically dead in the snow. And you're wondering why everybody is saying she's distraught, she's erratic, she's emotional. How many times, Lally, do you have to get someone to say it as if there's something wrong with it? Oh my God.
observations did you make of her facial area?
She had
Oh,
blood on her
good. I'm
face,
not
and
the
her
only
neck,
one
and
in noise.
blood around her mouth, and neck and chin.
So with regard to sort of any earlier suicidal statements, what, if anything, did she say in relation to that?
She said she made him because she just went through traumatic events, seen her husband dead, and she had no plan on acting on it.
Now, pursuant to a Section 12 call, what, if anything, are you doing as far as documentation goes with respect to vital signs, things like that?
Oh yeah, Gingy. I already been making fun of that. We've been talking about please do not make that a drinking game because you'll be dead on the floor in less than 5 minutes.
Citation. It's more verbal.
And as far as any of those sort of vital signs and things that you took, what, if anything, abnormal did you know in regards to that?
Nothing too abnormal. Just the heart rate might be a little bit high, but within normal range.
Could you please keep your voice up, sir? Thank you.
Sorry. With the vital signs, her heart rate was a little high, it was 98, but it was nothing concerning.
During the time that you're having this conversation with her in the back of the ambulance, how would you describe it?
She would have periods of calmness, and then other periods she would appear agitated because she didn't want to go to the hospital. But all in all, she was cooperative with us.
Now, at some point, she's cooperative, correct, and agrees to go?
Eventually, yes.
When you say eventually, was there some conversation related to it?
We kind of mentioned to her basically what a Section 12 is. And unfortunately, she'd have to come with us voluntarily or involuntarily.
So you're explaining the process to her, is that correct?
Correct.
Eventually, she agrees to go, correct?
Correct.
And as far as the transport goes, who, if anyone, is in the back of the ambulance with her during the transport period?
Me and Firefighter Whitley.
And who, if anyone, was driving the ambulance to the hospital?
Firefighter Pop.
And which hospital did you transport?
Who, if
Who's at the
anyone,
hospital?
was driving the
Now, during the
ambulance?
course of
No, the ambulance was driving itself. Oh my Lord. This trial would be great for the expert. He was saying he doesn't know too much about the case. Yeah, he was here yesterday, Gingy. because the Baker shared my channel and got me over 100 subscribers. It was so amazing. He had me crying in his chat. Oh my God. I love the Baker, and he shared my link and everything, and the expert was there, and it was so amazing. Expert was here yesterday in my chat. It was so cool. Yeah, he is. I saw the very first episode when Emily C was trying to explain it to him. Yeah, it's so cool. It was amazing what he did for me. I mean, ugh, I love the Broken Baker. He's amazing. Yeah, the expert, he is I don't know how to explain his channel. Like, I've been watching him now and then for a while, when I first learned of him through the Baker, and he's kind of all over the place now and then. Well, not more than now and then. But he can be like something to be, you have to kind of become accustomed to in a way, but I just find it funny. Like, he's just funny to me. Him and his pixie sticks.
Transfer to the hospital.
He's got a sugar
What, if
addiction.
anything else, did Ms. Reed say with reference to children?
She was talking about Keith's children, and she wasn't sure, and she didn't know if she'd be able to take care of them. She was worried about that.
She was worried about that.
Yeah, she's worried about who would take care of the children if he was pronounced dead.
And what, if anything, did she say about herself in reference to the children?
She didn't think that she could take care of them on her own.
Now, as far as this other person on the patient from the earlier call, how did she to that person in relationship to yourself?
She was calling him husband.
With reference to Ms. Reed in this conversation, what, if anything, did she say in regards to the last time that she had spoken to who she called her husband?
She had said that they had gotten into an argument. She was sad because that was the last thing she had said to him was the argument, but she didn't go into detail on what the argument was about or what was said.
With regard to her speaking about,
Well,
children,
should
what, if
she
anything,
have told you? What's it
further
your
conversation you had
business?
yourself or Firefighter Whitley have with her in regard to that?
With children?
Yeah.
I don't recall.
The other female party that Ms. Reed was initially with in the vehicle when you first arrived, did you know who that was?
I don't know who she was.
And at any point in time, subsequent to that, did you learn who she was?
I did.
And who did you learn her to be?
She was Ms. Carrie Roberts.
And with relation to your conversation with Ms. Reed on that day of January 29th, what, if anything, did she say about Ms. Roberts? Objection.
Sustained.
In regard to the sort of medical questions that you were asking, from those medical questions, what, if any, questions would you typically ask someone with relation to consumption of alcohol or drugs?
Well, probably part of the second assessment, I asked if she had taken any drugs or alcohol, and she denied it at that point.
She said that she had not, correct?
Correct.
With regard to her demeanor throughout the course of your interaction with her, how would you describe that?
She was cooperative, and she'd be calm, and then eventually she would
Oh,
kinda
Cheryl.
get alleged.
Hopefully we can get you through the last of it. It will end. I know some of these days always, can drag on. But we'll get you through it.
And repetitive questions, but she seemed distraught.
Now, with respect to the person she indicated was her husband, what, if any, questions did she ask either you or Firefighter Whitley or both in relation?
She was asking if he was dead, or could he be dead, and she said, could I have hit him?
Was that something that she asked once or more than once?
See,
wasn't a lot, it
now
was more.
that's just contradicting what the other one said, who was like, no, she said, I hit him, even though you admitted that you were already in the ambulance. So how could you have heard her say that? So this one's saying, could I have hit him? And they're contradictory statements. Who was that the other day? Now I already forgot his name. The one that was so like, I don't know, I can't recall. I don't know where I was. And then finally, they got him to admit that he was already in the ambulance, and then he backtracks and says, I don't know if I was in the ambulance. Like, it's crazy. Who was it? This one, oh, Flamati. Yeah, firefighter Flamati, him and his freaking ridiculous testimony.
More of could he be dead? Could he be dead?
So somewhat repetitive, is that correct?
Correct.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Firefighter, just my own clarification. You testified earlier that first arriving on scene and first spoke with Ms. Reed, she indicated that there were some statements that
Oh yeah,
she said there were some
Katie,
statements
he does that a lot.
Correct.
That's how I found.
Exactly. So my question is,
Do any of you watch Mowing the
she
Deep?
made prior to your arrival, correct?
Correct.
Baker sent me to Mowing the Deep, one of the like last week, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and I've been watching. She's hilarious. She gets me cracking up. But and that's why I like when Rat House Media and Baker send me places I haven't seen before. It's like, yay, something new to discover. Can't trust a man who won't show you his eyes. Yeah, he doesn't. The expert does wear sunglasses. I don't know why yet. I think there's a reason behind that. I don't know what it is based on what he said last night on Rat House Media. Talking to Danny, he said it was something to do with his mom, but I don't know if that was a joke or true or what the story is behind that. But that's him. Yeah, I like his channel too. It's called The Expert, right? That one? Oh, Rakita, that one. Okay, you're talking about Rakita? Yeah. I thought you were talking about The Expert. Yeah, I watched that one too. Cheryl, the expert shared with us he just lost his mom in December. Okay, I think he was having a difficult night, hence the glasses. Last night he told the Rat House audience he was having a hard time. Yeah, see, that's what I heard too. I didn't know if that was the reason behind the glasses or not, because the expert wears glasses too a lot. Yeah. Oh, you watch Mo too? Wait, who's Shizzy? Is that the guy she had on his show her show the other day? Yeah, he did get choked up, you could tell. I feel so bad. I lost my mom in 2023, the summer of 2023, and I actually, when I talk about my mom, I cry. I cried on my stream on Tuesday. Can't help it. Thought so. I thought the expert wore glasses. That's why when you said you were talking about Rakita Law, I thought you were talking about the expert because he wears glasses all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I had to join late because I streamed with Crispy Treat last night. If anyone wants to go listen to us shoot the shit, Dean joined my show for a short time last night too. Last night he wanted to watch, give me some views to get me up to my 3,000 views or hours of views to get monetized. Watch that one. We were just, talking shit. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so I haven't seen him on The Expert. I did see him on Mo the other day. So I thought that's who we were talking about. Okay, good. I haven't checked. I didn't know if he had his own channel or not. I'll have to check it out. Oh, Gingy, you want to see a couple of funny pictures? I think you weren't here yet when I showed these. We're talking about what's his face on the stand. The last guy, what was his name? I forget these people's names. Hold on. Whitley. We were talking about the last witness, Whitney, Dodo. Well, feel free to stay as long as you want. But we made these pictures in honor of Dodo, telling us that Whitley looked like the angry bird, the red angry bird. There you go. And she wondered what he would look like with googly eyes. So we made googly eyes. Angry bird, Whitley, and googly eyes, Whitley.
Not to any subsequent statements, correct?
Correct.
Nothing further.
All right, cross-examination.
Thank you, Ron. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You and I have met.
I believe so.
I wanted to go back to one.
I didn't even realize that, Katie.
Sure.
You had, in response to a question from the.
Oh, I'm sorry,
about
Cheryl.
the medical
My
history, and
condolences.
the
I
question to
yep.
Ms. Reed
I lost my
about
mom in
whether
December
she had
2023, and when I
any
talk about her,
alcohol
I
drank.
start to
believe
cry
your
immediately,
answer
which
today
is
was
why I try to
she
change the
denied having
subject
drank
quickly.
alcohol the
I'm
night before?
sorry, but
At the
I'm
time
so
that she was-
sorry. My heart
I-
goes out to
She
you.
could.
I
don't know if she
literally
drank alcohol
bawled my
before,
eyes
but
out,
at that time,
literally
I asked if
on
she
my
drank
live
alcohol. She said
stream
no.
on Tuesday, talking
You need to
about
keep
her.
your voice up, sir. Speak
Okay,
directly into
sorry.
the microphone.
So I asked her if she had any drugs or alcohol, and she said no.
Oh, if she had any drugs.
Well, she'd taken any drugs or alcohol. She said no.
Did you specify a time period?
I just assumed it'd be in the last few hours for the reason why we were there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Unsure if she had alcohol days prior, but the reason why we were there.
Okay. So was it your understanding that the two of you had an understanding of what you were asking?
Sure.
Objection, move to
Yeah,
strike.
yeah. So the objection sustained. It's stricken. Ask the question differently, Ms. Tinetti.
Thank you, Ron. All right. So I guess with regard to your intent and your state of mind when you were asking that question, you were asking, had you taken any drugs or alcohol within the last few hours? That's what you meant to ask?
Objection.
So the objection sustained.
What did you specifically ask?
So when I ask a patient if any drugs or alcohol, I'm talking about at that point in time, but an hour before, 2 hours before, not days before, weeks before.
Okay.
So-
And this was at 6:40 in the morning,
Correct.
correct? Did you smell any alcohol on her at that time?
I did not.
You would agree that she did tell you at some point that she had had alcohol the night before, correct?
No.
So this is now, what's today, May 3rd of 2024?
Correct.
And this happened back in January, on January 29th of 2022?
Correct.
You were interviewed by a Trooper Michael Proctor on February 14th of 2022. Do you recall that?
I recall meeting with him, yes.
And February 14th of 2022 would have been a little bit more than 2 weeks after January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Your memory of what Karen Reed told you about whether she had anything to drink the night before would have been much better on February 14th of 2022 when you were talking to Trooper Michael Proctor than it would be today, correct?
Correct.
Because your memory doesn't get better over time, correct?
Certain circumstances, sure.
And with regard to whether Karen had indicated that she took any drugs, you told Trooper Proctor, she said that she had not, correct?
Correct.
With regard to whether she had had alcohol the night before, you told Trooper Proctor on February 14th of 2022 that she did consume alcohol last night, correct?
Objection.
All right, I'm going to see it sidebar on this. Please bring that with you, please.
With your permission, I'll repeat the question.
Sure.
You told Trooper Proctor on February 14th of 2022 that Karen had told you that she did consume alcohol the previous night, correct?
If that's in his notes,
Well, is your memory exhausted as to whether you told him that?
I don't recall.
If you saw his report with your statements in it, would that refresh your memory?
Sure.
It's a 2-page report. I'll give you both, actually. It's a 2-page report. I'll give you both pages, but I have highlighted a line on the second page, so I would direct you to that. May I approach?
Yes. And take your time reading it, sir.
Yes, yeah. Please read it silently to yourself and look up at me when you're done. Having reviewed that report, does that refresh your memory as to the fact that
Does that refresh your memory?
does that refresh your memory?
It does.
Okay. And so did you tell Trooper Proctor on February 14th that Karen Reed had told you on January 29th that she had consumed alcohol the night before that?
Sure. Yes.
Is it fair to say that when you were listening to her talk at times, that her speech was very rapid?
Correct.
And particularly when she had said the words, is he dead? Is he dead? She would repeat it repetitively, correct?
Correct.
And she was fixated on that, correct?
Correct.
And with regard to the last interaction that she spoke about with whom you thought she said her husband, she didn't give you any detail about that, correct?
She did not.
You don't know whether it was an in-person communication?
That wasn't my position to ask more details about that.
Oh, and I'm not criticizing you, sir. I'm just trying to get to what your knowledge was in terms of
Right.
information you got from her. So she didn't specify that it was an in-person communication, correct?
No.
She didn't specify as to whether it was a phone conversation?
She did not.
She didn't specify whether it was a text message exchange back and forth?
She did not.
And she didn't specify whether it was an angry voicemail that she left, correct?
She did not.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Nothing further for this witness.
All right. All right, Mr. Becker or Firefighter Becker, you are all set, sir. Thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you.
All right, who's next? All right, Lieutenant Paul Gallagher. This is the one I said
Mr. Lally, whenever you're
going to
ready.
be on the lookout
morning.
for. So here we go.
State your name and spell your last name.
Yes, my name is Paul Gallagher, last name Gallagher.
Good night,
how many
Dodo. Thanks
I'm
for
a lieutenant
being
with the
here.
police department.
And how long in total have you
See you
been
in
a
the
member?
chats.
Total of 32 years, 2 years as a permanent intermittent officer, 30 years full-time.
And you indicated that you are a lieutenant, is that correct?
That is correct.
And how long have you held the rank of lieutenant?
I was promoted to lieutenant August 1st of 2021.
What did you do with Canton Police prior to becoming lieutenant?
I
No.
was the detective sergeant from 2018 until I was promoted.
Oh
in
shoot!
2021.
Hold on, guys.
And
My
what is it to
computer
sum
is
up? What
about
is
to
it
go
to
dead.
sum
So
Okay.
when a patrolman takes an initial report, anything that needs follow-up, the detective sergeant makes
Oh, there
sure
we go.
it's assigned to a detective, usually the next detective working, and make sure that all the steps are taken to manage the cases and bring it to fruition, if possible.
And what is it, sort of, what are your
So
general
Paul
duties and responsibilities as a
Gallagher's
lieutenant with Canton?
testimony is
Currently,
2
they are, I am
hours
in charge of
long.
internal affairs, background checks.
I don't think I'm
patrol,
obviously
and
going to go
IOS
that long.
services.
So we'll see how
You say
far we
partly
get
what
into Lally, how
I
far,
was
how
promoted
long
in
Lally is
2021.
on the
At
stand
that
with him.
time, Lieutenant Keller was
We can
the
split
lieutenant in
it
charge of detectives.
when the
We have since had a
Lally's
change of
done with
police
them and
have
stop
assignments
there.
changed.
But if Lally goes too long,
Were
we may
you
have to
working with
stop.
Canton Police on the morning of January 29th, 2022?
I was.
And at some point, did you receive a phone call?
I did.
And about what time was that and who?
Yeah.
That was shortly after 6 a.m. It was Sergeant Sean Good.
And he's a member of your department as well?
He's the 12 to 8 supervisor, which our shifts actually run 11:45 p.m. to 7:45 a.m., but we call it the 12 to 8 shift.
And what, if anything, was indicated to you in this call from Sergeant Good?
Sergeant Good told me he was responding to a scene where a body was found unconscious, possibly not breathing in the snow. He stated his name was John O'Keefe. He was a Boston police officer who resided on Meadows Ave. He further told me that he had gotten a call earlier about John O'Keefe not returning home that night. His friends had called the hospitals, then they called the police, then they went out and looked for him, and they found him unconscious and not breathing in the snow.
And based on that information, what, if anything, did you?
I told him I would respond.
Where were you initially responding?
I was initially responding to Meadows Ave. I misinterpreted when he said he was a Boston police officer on Meadows Ave. I thought they discovered him on Meadows Ave.
And subsequently, did you learn a different location and respond to that location?
I did.
What was that location that you subsequently determined was where you were going?
When I called the dispatch to find out the exact address, I was told it was 32 Fairview Road.
And that was from the dispatch, is that correct?
That's correct. It was Officer Dever who answered the phone.
That was the officer Kelly Dever, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, did you go straight from home to the scene, or did you go stop somewhere else prior?
I stopped at Canton Police Department prior to that.
And what was the purpose of stopping at Canton Police Department prior to going to Fairview?
I was picking up some winter gear, and I advised Sergeant Good via the radio that all midnight personnel was to be held till further notice.
And you say winter gear, as far as responding to the scene, what, if any, other sort of equipment did you procure when you went to Canton Police?
It was clothing. I needed a winter jacket, hat, things of that nature. I was responding in my personal vehicle.
And if you know, about what time was it that you arrived on Fairview Road that morning?
I arrived shortly after 7 a.m.
And when you arrived, what, if anything, was it that you observed upon your arrival?
There were some vehicles pulling away, but parked by this where the scene was were 3 Canton police vehicles and 1 black Toyota pickup truck that is assigned to our detectives.
And who, if anyone else from your department was there at that time?
When I arrived, the 3 marked units were occupied by Officer Mulaney, Officer Sarif, Sergeant Good, and the Toyota pickup was driven there by Detective Sergeant Lang.
And as far as by the time you arrived, Mr. O'Keefe is no longer on scene, is that correct?
That is correct.
And what, if any, vehicles or apparatus or any personnel from the fire department were on scene by the time that you arrived?
None.
Sorry, guys.
Now, when you first arrived, who, if anyone, did you first speak with on scene?
I I first encountered Sergeant Good.
And you had a conversation with him, is that correct?
That is correct.
And with anyone else did you talk to then?
Detective Sergeant Lang joined us as well.
And following these initial conversations with Sergeant Good and Detective Sergeant Lang, what did you do with that?
Once they updated me on the case, we decided that we had to process where Mr. O'Keefe was found. It was snowing heavily. Sometimes the wind was blowing north, sometimes it was south. It was changing directions. And we discussed how to process where Mr. O'Keefe was found, because at the time we had no idea how he came to be where he was.
And with respect to that, first, as far as where Mr. O'Keefe was, who, if anyone, directed you to where Mr. O'Keefe had been prior to your arrival?
When I arrived and I spoke with Sergeant Good and Detective Sergeant Lang, they updated me on the case. They had told me that Mr. O'Keefe was transported to the hospital, that they were doing CPR on him at that time. They told me that he was bleeding from the mouth and nose, and that he may have had swelling above one of his eyes. They told me that they transported his girlfriend as well, and they told me the circumstances surrounding that incident. They told me that at some point after the phone call to the police station, friends, the woman's name is Kerry
My
Roberts,
thought
picked
went
up Mr.
directly.
Cade.
I didn't even think about that. So Malin says, stop by the department to get winter gear, but not proper evidence collection stuff. You can't make this shit up, Yeah. But you know what I thought? And I didn't say it. I should have. But when he said that, was like, you stopped by to get yourself winter gear so you could stay warm. But here's a man in the snow with no heavy coat on, one shoe, and you never thought, where the hell is his coat? Seriously?
And John O'Keefe's girlfriend, Karen Reed, and they drove around and they discovered Mr. O'Keefe on the left side of the property. I would call it the east side of the property, unconscious and not breathing in the snow.
Now, this area that Sergeant Good directed you to, where he indicated Mr. O'Keefe was, you mentioned that there was snowing heavily at this time, is that correct?
It is correct, yes.
And about how much snow was on the ground in this area at the time that you initially went over?
I would say at least 4 inches of snow.
Now, with reference to, as far as you mentioned, sort of processing the scene, what, if anything, did you and the other officers do with regard to that scene as far as that was concerned?
So it was a unique scene because of the weather. Sergeant Lang had notified Norfolk County CPAC. He had advised them that.
Sustained.
I'm sorry, can you rephrase the question, please?
So Detective Sergeant Lang had reached out to Norfolk County CPAC, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
correct. And what is CPAC?
It's the State Police Investigative Unit of the District Attorney's Office, Crime Prevention and Control.
And what, if any, as far as that notification is concerned, what is sort of
The worst part about that, Katie, is
So
I'm
when we
going
have-
through the Google Drive of evidence that the loophole lawyer and Corey Hopkins, are providing. And I've listened to all the audio from the PD. And the very first mention of the address is correct. It's 34 Fairview. But every time she mentions it after that, or they mention it after that, then it's incorrect. Almost as if someone told them, like, either, hey, say 32, or hey, no, it's not 34, it's 32. It's very strange how that happened. How the very first time the address is mentioned, it was correct, and then it changed. Oh, 100%.
We have an unintended death.
It's only more obvious when you listen to those audios and find out that it was correct in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it wasn't.
Norfolk County CPAC unit responds and takes jurisdiction. In this particular case, Mr. O'Keefe was still alive. So they declined to respond at that time.
It may be a term that's really well understood, but when you say unattended death, what do you mean by that?
An unexplained death, a person who was alone at the time of their death.
And so at this point, no one from state police had responded or was responding to the scene at that point.
That is correct.
And so what, if anything, did you and the other officers do with regard to the scene where Mr. O'Keefe had been located in snow?
So we decided on how we were going to process the area. Our concern was there were some light pink spots in the snow, and we thought it may be blood. So we were discussing how to get to that, uncover the blood safely. We decided we were going to process the scene with a leaf blower. I figured we could direct the snow off the area in a controlled fashion. At that time, Sergeant Good volunteered to go get a snow blower. But what I told him in the meantime, I wanted to photograph the area. I wanted all the cruisers away from the house. There was one cruiser, I believe, occupied Officer Sarif directly in front of where Mr. O'Keefe was. I wanted him backed up. And there was crime scene tape set up, and it was blowing wildly in the wind. It was serving no purpose at that time. There were no civilians or witnesses about. And I knew we had 2 officers who could protect the scene while we processed it. So Sergeant Good, before he left to get the leaf blower, he directed the officers to move their cruisers. I told Sergeant Lank the most important thing he could do at this time would
Objection.
The objection sustained. Move on to your next question, Mr. Lally.
Now, you mentioned that there was some crime scene tape that was set up around. Is that correct?
that is correct.
And how was that accomplished?
Sergeant Good and my Detective Sergeant Lank.
100%, Katie.
Do you know what, if anything, they were able to use to attach it to in order to set it up around where Mr. O'Keefe was found?
I believe they used a fire hydrant, a tree,
Yep.
a flagpole, and I'm not sure what else. I don't recall specifically what it was attached to.
Yes,
And
that was
with
the
regard-
Asian house.
You mentioned there were photographs that were taken prior to the implementation of a leaf blower. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I can just ask a little bit about that. As far as the leaf blower was concerned, why was that a decision as far as that being an implement to use this particular scene?
It was a unique scene. There was snow. I had never processed a scene in the snow. I had seen a leaf blower used in the snow, and it's quite effective at being controlled. So that's why it was readily accessible. The scene was debilitating as we were on scene with the weather. Snow was piling up, and I thought that was the best method at that time.
And prior to the arrival of Sergeant Good back to the scene with the leaf blower, what, if anything else, was done to sort of document the scene at that time?
In addition to photographs, what we did was I wasn't sure how the roadway ended. I wasn't sure if there was a sidewalk, a curb, a berm, or whether it was just grass. Excuse me. So Sergeant Lank and I dug out what I believe is called a 6-inch Cape Cod asphalt berm, exposed it so we could get a better perspective of how far Mr. O'Keefe might have been off the roadway.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Direct your attention what's commonly marked as exhibits 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Please review those. Just look up on your screen.
Okay.
Your Honor, may we approach this? briefly?
Sure.
I know, it's you.
Thank you.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have the first of those photographs up on the screen. I don't believe that's the first photograph for you, but if you could locate that within that.
I believe that's exhibit 30.
And if you could just describe to the jury what if anything we're looking at in this exhibit.
So that is.
What,
in front
if
of
anything,
34th
we're
Avenue
looking at?
Road in Canton. It's looking westerly or the direction towards
Lally.
Chapman Street, and it's documenting the conditions at the time.
Seriously, did you just ask that? What, if anything, are we looking at? You just put a photo up so you know people are looking at a photo. Are you fucking stupid? Wow. Why couldn't you just ask?
Approach the witness, Your Honor.
Yes.
Do you recognize
any
this
points?
photo? What's in this photo? Seriously.
Yes.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have the next photograph, please.
That is simply documenting that the number 34 is on the mailbox. That is 34 Fairview Road.
Do you have a number on that in front of you?
Yes, I do. It's exhibit 22.
Thank you.
There are two of these, I believe. They're similar. I just want to make sure I have the correct one.
What's depicted in that photograph?
That
Is
would've
a fair
been
record
funny.
of sort of the scene and roadway when you arrived that morning?
It is. It's the mailbox with the number 34 on it, and it shows two vehicles in the driveway of 34 Fairview Road.
And Ms. Gilman, the next photograph? Maybe you could, Lieutenant, when you locate this, indicate which exhibit we're looking at in this one.
That's exhibit 28. It's a different angle of the driveway, showing the third car in the driveway. I wanted to document what was in the driveway at that time.
Next photograph, Ms. Gilman.
It's exhibit 29, and basically it documents the same thing. The entirety of the house from I guess it would be a westerly view, and the three cars that were in the driveway at the time I arrived.
And next photograph, Ms. Gilman.
I believe that's exhibit 31, and it's a close-up of where Mr. O'Keefe was found. And you can see the very light pink spotting that we thought may be blood. And there was an object in the center as well, which we didn't know what it was at that time.
Subsequent, did you learn what that object was?
Yes,
What did you learn?
it was a broken clear cocktail glass. And the pink spot was frozen or coagulated blood.
And the next photograph, Ms. Gilman.
That's exhibit 23. And it's basically showing that the scene was trampled by rescue workers, witnesses, et cetera, but you can still see, the pink spot in the area where Mr. O'Keefe was.
As far as footprints within the snow that you observed, you indicated that the scene was trampled or walked over by first responders, correct?
Correct.
And the footprints that you observed, what footprints did you, what areas around where Mr. O'Keefe's, where it was indicated to you that Mr. O'Keefe's body was, where those footprints located?
They were located between the street and
Well, that's
where Mr.
because they allowed
And as far as
people to
between where
go
Mr.
in and
O'Keefe
out
was
of the
found and
house.
the
They didn't
residents of
care.
Fairview, what, if any, footprints did you observe in that area?
I didn't observe any footprints at that time.
Ms. Gilman, if I could ask for the next photograph, please.
That is exhibit 24, and it's showing a westerly shot of the scene. Still found in this area here, and it depicts the wind blowing in that direction at the time.
And probably pretty self-evident, but depicts the wind blowing in that direction based on what?
The other flag flying.
The next photograph is filmed.
That is Exhibit 20. That is the I believe it's called the 6-inch Cape Cod asphalt berm that separated the roadway from the property of 34 Fairview. And this is the long look to where Mr. O'Keefe was discovered.
The next photograph is filmed.
Again, that's a close-up of one of the exhibits we saw earlier. Again, you can see the spotting and the glass here. This is, I believe this is Exhibit 26.
So, next photograph is filmed.
This is Exhibit 27, and it's some what we believe was frozen or coagulated lead spotting.
Next photograph is filmed.
And that's a different view, close-up of the scene, and that's Exhibit 32.
And the next photograph is filmed.
That's when we first uncovered the berm, the 6-inch berm, and it's just a smaller picture close-up of that berm. It's Exhibit 25.
Reference to the sort of uncovering of the berm as you described it, what, if anything, did you use to uncover the berm?
I believe we just used our foot to uncover that.
And what I believe is the last photograph.
This is the location from the berm to where Mr. O'Keefe was found. It's just a long view, and it's Exhibit 21.
May I approach just
Yes, yes. Tori.
I'm not sure when this was, Maylan. I don't think they
as far
said.
as the cruisers with Canton Police Department, what, if any, sort of reporting equipment are they equipped with?
They're with dash cameras, watch guard cameras.
And what, if anything, have you done to review some of that dash camera footage from that?
I've reviewed all of it.
And specifically, have you reviewed dash camera footage from the 683 cruiser, Officer Cyrus cruiser?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, if I may, I would ask that it's already been marked as Exhibit 12. I would ask that portion of that be placed at the jury at this time.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could fast forward this to approximately 57 minutes or so into the. Kind of you recognize what's on the screen as well. And what you recognize.
That's the video I referred of Canton Cruiser 683 on, it's dated January 29th, 2022 at 7, if the time is correct, 7:02:54.
And around this time, within this video from Officer Cyrus cruiser, what, if anything, did you observe occurring within that cruiser camera?
I believe it's at approximately 57:17. You'll see Sergeant Good.
I completely agree with you, Genji.
Yellow crime scene tape. You'll see him.
I talked about this a little the other day about how when they kept saying that a conspiracy needed, how could we possibly believe a conspiracy that believe that like 30, 40, 50 people needed to be involved? No, they didn't. They just needed to trust the people they worked with and surrounded themselves with. That's it. Yeah, I don't know when those pictures are taken out to look into it, Maylan. I will. When I go through I'm still going through the Google Drive of all the evidence. I'll go back to the pictures and see if they're time-stamped. I don't even, Katie, it could have easily been that, but I think a lot of it, like, besides the ones who blatantly outright lied, like Flamati, he did not hear Karen Reed say, I hit him. That was bullshit. But like the ones that just, are giving their statements that don't seem to be really lying or showing signs of deception, in my opinion, are ones that just believe the scenario that they were told by their cop friends. They just believe, they had no reason to not believe them in their eyes. Yeah. That's why I can't wait to put out my video that's specifically on the group thinking. But like I said, I can't do that until I couldn't finish it knowing I had not seen the first trial and where this all started. So I'm really excited about that video and when I can complete it. I'll let you guys know when it's done. Yeah, it is. It is. It's people don't realize how easy it is to simply agree with someone just because the people that either answered before you or the more popular people in the group think one way. And so some people don't want to look like an outlier or an outsider by disagreeing, even if they're in their own mind that they do disagree, but they don't want to look bad. They don't want to get criticized. So they just go with the flow. They go with the group thinking. It's really bad. I mean, it's sad. Yep. I've done some shorts. I don't know if you guys have watched them regarding conformity. One of the most fascinating experiments I learned about in undergrad was oh my God, I just lost his name. I can't believe it. I do this all the time. What's his face? Regarding authority. Stanley Milgram did an experiment where he had a group of people as the authority and the other group of people as obviously not authority. They put these people in a separate room and told them they were going to take a test. The people that had the authority thought that the group taking the test were hooked up to an electricity, shocking machine, and said every question they get wrong, you have to shock them, and every time you shock them, you have to go up to the next level. I think it was 80%. I can't remember the percentages in my short, but it was a majority of the authority, and more than just the majority, went up to the maximum level of shock, which could have been deadly, just because they were told to by an authority figure. Like, it's insane. Yep. Exactly, Katie. People that say that thin blue line doesn't exist, oh bullshit, it does. You have to show them the actual experiment is on YouTube. I'll have to look into that. It's insane. Yeah, they did. Yep, I got the exact percentage in my short video. I think it's 80%. It's a lot. Yeah, if that experiment is on YouTube, I'm definitely going to look into that. Maybe I can do another longer video on it, being able to use those clips and explain that, because that was like one of the very first experiments you learn about in psychology, and it fascinated me. Oh, thank you, Jeannie. I appreciate it. And going back to the group thinking, there's one of the experiments that I also posted a short about. Oh, hold on one second. One moment, please. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I was getting a text. Okay, so anyway, then another short that I had talked about was another experiment, and it kind of goes along with the group thinking, and that is the Ash conformity experiment. And that one specifically, in talking about like people that don't want to stand out, even though like they're giving incorrect answers. So what happened is they showed a group of people 3 lines and asked them which line is longer, and they had this I think they call them soldiers and Confederates or whatever they called them in the group study. So the people that were working for the researcher were going to always answer incorrectly. All 3 of these lines were exactly the same size, but the first person worked for the researcher and it gave the wrong answer. And then the second person also gave the wrong answer on purpose. And then the people who are actually being studied, it was to see if they'd also give the wrong answer. And it's a lot. Like most people give the wrong answer because they don't want to go against the group, even though it's deceiving. Like their eyes are telling them they're all the same size. They go along with the group's wrong answer because they don't want to stick out, or they don't want attention, or they don't want to cause any discord within a group. Like it's crazy. Thank you, Jeannie. If you could send it to me in Discord, Jeannie, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. But these are the kind of things in my channel that I want to get into. I'm going to start doing a weekly thing going into all this kind of stuff. And I'm so excited to get there. I really am.
Of the cruiser at first. Him, Officer Mulaney, and Sergeant Lank walk off, and then you'll see Sergeant Good stretching out the crime scene tape.
And if you could, sir, as the video is playing, using the wave pointer that you have for you, just draw the jury's attention to who, if anyone, you observe or recognize within that video.
Yes.
Just how many people.
The yellow tape is. There's 2 officers with yellow crime scene tape. I believe this is Officer Mulaney, but I'm not sure. I know this is Sergeant Good.
And my apologies, that's going to be great to play again.
That's Detective Sergeant Lank in the lighter coat. Sergeant Good and Lank, they walk off camera.
Yep. I agree, Jeannie.
You'll see Sergeant Good come into the picture right here. They're stretching out the crime scene tape. You see it flapping in the wind there. You see it raise way up because of the wind. This is the crime scene tape here. And I'm not sure what they affixed it to, whether it was the cruiser at that point or not. But you can see the crime scene tape going across the scene that way.
I'm just going to see the pause right there for a moment. So, Lieutenant Gallagher, in addition to sort of the crime scene tape that you observed in this video, what, if anything else, did you get from the station to attempt to sort of secure the scene or place at the scene?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Did you get a tent at the station?
Excuse me?
A tent at the station?
No, I didn't. No.
And why not?
I had a tent with me from home. It was a personal 8x8 tent at that time.
My apologies. And so at any point in time on the scene, were you able to set up that tent that you retrieved from your home?
Due to the weather conditions, we did not set it up because we were required officers holding it down, and we didn't think the top would stay on.
And again, maybe pretty self-evident, but when you say due to the weather conditions, what, if anything, about the weather conditions prevented you from setting that tent up?
There was high winds, shifting directions, a large amount of snow falling.
Ms. Gilman, if I could ask, if you could just pull forward in that video, it's about the
Oh, got it. God forbid that it would take you a little extra time to put it up because of it, you know, the wind and snow.
Lieutenant, what, if anything, are we looking at in this portion?
If you look closely, it's the crime scene tape that's flowing around. Right now you can't see it. Or I cannot see it from here.
That's funny, Malin.
Is this around the point where the decision was made to take that down? Is that correct?
It was later on, I observed the same thing, and I told the officers it wasn't doing any good at that time. And there were nobody to keep out of the scene at that point. It was only police personnel on scene.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gilman, you can stop and take it down. Thank you very much. Now, with reference to the implementation of the leaf blower, was that memorialized in any way as well?
Yes, I had Sergeant Good take a video since we were improvising using something I wasn't familiar with being used before in case there were any questions on how it was deployed. I had Sergeant Good take a short video.
And there's sort of several different short video clips of that process. Is that fair to say?
There's at least one that I know of.
You want me to coach?
Yes.
So showing you this, you recognize that?
I don't recognize it. I haven't seen this before.
John, with the court's permission, may I publish what's now been marked as 30? The last exhibit is this. If I can publish after 30.
Yes.
Sorry, if you could just pause it right there. And Lieutenant Gallagher, do you recognize what's up on screen?
I do.
And what do you recognize?
It's me operating the leaf blower and at the scene where John O'Keefe was discovered.
And who is operating the leaf blower in these videos?
I am.
And who, if anyone else from your department, is sort of present while this process is going on?
Detective Sergeant Lank is documenting, and Sergeant Good is also assisting.
And Ms. Gilman, thank you very much. If you could just claim right.
See, it removes the snow. I was removing the snow layer by layer. And right here, you can see it exposing the cocktail glass. You're going to see red spots appear as I remove it layer by layer. These pink spots start to turn to be dark red spots. As you see, we can control it. We were concerned with whatever other.
Oh, hold on and wait for a question.
I'd still like to know, in watching this, I've seen this
As you can
part
see, it
of
just takes
the
a-
video before. I'd still like to know how all that blood got on top of the snow. If he supposedly was hit and left on the snow at 12:30 when there wasn't all the snow on the ground. Because he wouldn't actively be bleeding when they got him on the stretcher. So where did this come from?
Layer by layer.
Hold on for a second. Mr. Lally, Ms. Gilman, can you pause it? So if you have a question for the lieutenant, all right, you're asking him to narrate the whole thing. We're not going to do it that way. And you can pause and then question. It's great you're keeping your voice up over the sound of the leaf blower, but it's a little distracting. So do you have a question, Mr. Lally?
Just briefly at this point. So Lieutenant Gallagher, with respect to as you're conducting this whole process, what, if anything, are you concerned about as far as throughout this process of trying to locate evidence?
We were concerned with the weather destroying biological evidence at that time.
And so what, if anything, were you doing with regard?
We were trying to take the snow that had fallen over the blood, and we were trying to remove it to expose the blood.
And fair to say, as far as during this sort of removal process, how much of the snow were you able to sort of sift layer by layer with the leaf blower that you had?
We could control how much I wanted to sift. I did it I started out as gently as possible, and if it needed, more snow needed to be removed, I got a little more aggressive.
Thanks. Ms. Gilman, if you could hit play. And the next video, man. Ms. Gilman, if you could play the third video, please. Ms. Gilman, if you could play the last video, please. Lieutenant, with reference to that process, how far deep into the snow were you able to go with using that leaf blower in that manner?
We got almost to the ground, bare ground.
As far as sort of a surface area, like how much of that area where Mr. O'Keefe was found were you able to use the leaf blower?
It was approximately a 6x6, 7x7 type area.
And from that area, what, if anything, in addition to the cocktail glass pieces that you already testified to and the red spots on the ground, what, if anything else, did you observe?
We didn't observe anything at that point. Anything else, just the blood in the glass.
Now, Lieutenant, during the time that you were on scene, with reference to the neighborhood in general, how many people did you observe sort of come out of their house at any point in time?
I didn't observe anybody ever come out of their house.
And that includes the residents that you're in front of, as well as any other residences along that street. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, at some point, about how long a period of time, if you know, were you on scene that particular morning?
Approximately 50 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes.
And following that, where did you go?
We brought the exhibits back to Camp Police Headquarters.
And by that, you mean the glass and what you had collected the blood?
Yeah, we took 6 blood samples, yes.
And how were you able to sort of collect the blood samples on scene?
Well, blood samples, because they were frozen, we debated on how to collect it. We didn't think swabbing was going to be easy to do
Oh,
if it
you
was
say
frozen.
you sold
So
cup.
we decided on
Like, no big
finding
deal.
some type of temporary plastic evidence container. We were able to find large cups, and we took 6 samples. We bagged the 6 samples, and Sergeant Lang transported them back to Camp Police Headquarters.
And with respect to those samples and piece of glass that you located, eventually, what, if anything, was done with those? Well, first and foremost, when you came back to Camp Police Station, what, if anything, did you do with them?
Chief Berkowitz was at headquarters, and we had a meeting in the detective sergeant's office.
What I'm asking, sir, is with reference to those items that you took back from Fairview when you got back to the station, what, if anything, did you do?
Sergeant Lang placed them in evidence.
And then subsequent to Sergeant Lane placing them in evidence at some point, where did they go?
They were turned over on February 1st to the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab.
And was that something where they were driven to the crime lab, or did the crime lab come to the station?
The crime lab was already at the station.
Now, you go back to the police station, have some conversation with your chief, is that correct?
That is correct.
And what was your chief's name?
Chief Berkowitz, Kenneth Berkowitz.
And following that conversation, at some point, did you return to Fairview Road that morning?
I did.
And who, if anyone, did you go there with?
I accompanied Detective Sergeant Lang.
And when you arrived, where did you go with reference to residents?
We went into a side door, and there were people in the kitchen at that time. I believe it was the kitchen area.
And did you know any of the people that were in the kitchen?
I did.
Who, if anyone, did you know?
Who I remember specifically was Jen McCabe, who I don't know personally, but I know because that's who Sergeant Lang arrived to talk to, and I knew Brian Albert in a professional sense.
And so Brian Albert is also a police officer, is that correct?
He was Boston police officer, yes.
Now, as far as any other people, who, if anyone else, were you introduced to when you came into the kitchen area?
I wasn't introduced to anybody. All I know is there were 5 or 6 people there.
And are you familiar with a gentleman by the name of Brian Higgins?
I am.
How are you familiar?
He is an ATF agent.
Yeah, I
I've
don't
worked
know
with him
about him yet.
DEA,
I
and he
don't,
later,
my opinion, I
had a
don't know
satellite
yet
office
until I
at
watch
RPD,
his testimony.
and I have since come to know him personally.
And in reference to your work with the DEA, how long did you work with the DEA?
13 years.
And so, Mr. Higgins, was he present in the home on Fairview when you arrived there that morning?
I don't recall him. When I arrived originally, definitely not. I don't recall if he was there when we arrived about 9 a.m.
So you don't recall him being there at all?
I don't recall specifically. I never had any conversation with him.
Now, you had made some mention of February 1st, a few days later, at your.
I don't know why he has
members
to
from the
squeeze
crime
his
lab
lips
came, correct?
together
That is
so
correct.
hard all the time to
And,
sound like that.
What, if anything, did they come there to do?
They were assisting the state police in executing a search warrant on a motor vehicle.
And where was that motor vehicle in relation to your car?
It was in our Sally Port.
If you could just describe to the jury, so what is it, Sally Port, specifically the Camp Police, like where is it located, what does it look like?
Sure, it's on the rear portion of our police department. They are large overhead doors that are numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. We only have 2 bays. So the Sally Port that the vehicle was in, typically we enter through door 4 and you would exit through door 3. Those doors, overhead doors, can only be controlled by a computer in the dispatch center. And it's where we bring in our prisoners. Once the Sally Port goes up, you enter, close the door, the area is secure. The rest of the PD is only accessible by access card, key access card.
As you mentioned, sort of the overhead garage doors are accessible only by the dispatch area, is that correct?
That is correct, a computer in the dispatch area.
And then as far as entrance from the department, how if at all is that controlled?
There is a, to the right of Sally Port 4, there is a key card access door.
Now, with reference to that Sally Port area, is there, what if any cameras are located in that area?
I know there's cameras in the area. I don't specifically know where they are. I typically don't look for them. I know it is under surveillance, as most of our department is.
And have you reviewed the at least portion or the entirety of the Sally Port video from that particular day, February 1st?
I've seen a small portion, yes.
And Coach Whitney,
Yes.
you recognize what's depicted on that particular flash drive?
Yes,
And what is depicted on that, sir?
CPD Sally Port videos.
You know, Congress seeks to introduce in the minutes and exhibit.
Any objection?
There you are.
Your Honor, if I may, at this time, I seek to publish a portion of Exhibit 34 for the record.
Okay.
So, Ms. Gilman, if I could have the portion that's February 1st, that covers 12 a.m. to 12 noon. Lieutenant Gallagher, again, from this video from approximately 9:11 in the morning, do you recognize what's up on screen?
I do.
If you could just, using that laser pointer, direct your attention to what, if anything, is significant to
Hey, Annie.
positive of this.
Thanks for coming.
This is our Sallyport. You would come in Sallyport 4, exit Sallyport 3, like I said earlier. This is the vehicle they were executing a search warrant on, and this is the crime scene tape.
Hopefully you get to be home now and relax.
State police that were present there. Who, if anyone, was present there that you knew or were aware of?
I knew Trooper Proctor was there, and I knew the criminologist was there, and a photographer. I don't know them by name.
So a couple people from the lab, one taking photos, one criminalist, is that correct?
Correct.
As well as Trooper Proctor.
That's correct.
Did you know Trooper Proctor?
I knew of him. I don't believe I ever met him prior to this. He has worked some cases with our detectives. I knew he was assigned to the DA's office, but I'm not sure if I ever met him prior to this case.
Now, with reference to the vehicle, what, if anything, was placed around the vehicle, or did you observe around the vehicle?
This crime scene tape, as you can see, the yellow tape right there.
But just to be clear, the sort of, which part of the vehicle is sort of in the lower foreground of this vehicle?
This is the passenger side rear of the vehicle.
Now, at some point over the course of the time that you were there on February 1st, what, if any, other sort of specialized units within the state police were also present?
Eventually, I think they call it the CARS team. It's what I would call their, I guess, accident reconstruction team responded.
Now, Ms. Gilman, if I can ask you to fast forward within that video to 9:44 a.m. If you could do that. Now, Lieutenant, during this part of the video, in addition to the people that you've already referenced, who, if anyone else, was in the garage at that time?
It's hard for me to say. I believe this is the criminalist. I believe if this is Trooper Proctor, this is me with the gray shirt, dress shirt walking in. That's me right there. And that's Trooper Proctor. I believe the photographer or another criminologist is here. I don't know what their title is.
Now, at some point during the execution of the search warrants, what, if any, issues did you become aware of with regard to the criminals?
They were having trouble. They were trying to remove the housing to the taillight, passenger side taillight, and they were having difficulty removing it.
And what, if any, assistance did you offer with regard to that?
I told them that we had an officer working who was in charge of our fleet maintenance and our mobile operations unit, who probably had the tools to do it. And he also had vast, extensive experience in auto body.
Who was that, sir?
That's Officer Brian Wanless.
And what, if anything, did you do with reference to Officer Wanless in regard to that area?
I asked dispatch to ask him to return at approximately, I think it was 9:50.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could ask you to, if not already there, move it up to 9:51 a.m. So with reference to this particular portion of the video, Lieutenant, if you could direct the jury's attention to when you see Officer Wanless and when you see him come over towards that area of the vehicle. And Ms. Gilman, for your purposes, what I would ask is run this from essentially 9:51 a.m. through to about 9:58 and 30 seconds.
This is Officer Wanless right here. He examines it and he leaves momentarily. He dons a pair of gloves. And he exits and he's going to come back with some tools. Here he comes. He places his toolkit on the tailgate.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, pause and ask a question.
And from your review of this video, what, if anything, do you observe Officer Wanless do with reference to that rear passenger side taillight?
He re-enters the Sallyport and with some tools, and he places his toolkit down on the tailgate of the Lexus.
And what, if anything, do you observe him do after that?
He begins to work on the housing of the taillight.
Ms. Gilman, if you could. Lieutenant, with respect to the items that you and the other officers recovered from 34 Fairview on the 29th, the criminalist that was depicted in that video was actually gave those items to.
I believe so, yes.
He gave those items to her directly, correct?
Yes.
Now, as far as that particular believe you testified earlier that you were looking to preserve biological matter. Is that correct?
Yes,
And fair to say that your search of that area was confined to sort of where it was described to you, Mr. O'Keefe, had been found, correct?
that is correct.
Now, turning back again just to February 1st, and sorry to jump around, but back to February 1st, at some point you mentioned there was a crash reconstructions from the state police. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what, if anything, did you aid or assist or facilitate with reference to crash reconstructionists around the police station?
When they wanted to test the vehicle, I secured the parking lot. I advised no cruisers to return to the station, and I blocked the entryway with my marked cruiser and remained in my cruiser.
And later on that day, February 1st, where, if anywhere, did you go with respect to the crash reconstruction?
We went to 34 Fairview.
In addition to yourself and the trooper from the crash reconstruction, who, if anyone else, went with?
Trooper Proctor was present.
And why did you go along with the troopers to that location?
Just so there was a Canton officer present. If any residents came out, I could communicate with them.
And to your knowledge, had Trooper Proctor been to Fairview prior to that date?
I have no knowledge if he had been there or not.
What, if anything, did you direct either Trooper Proctor or the crash reconstructionist to once you were on scene?
I brought him to the area of where Mr. O'Keefe was found.
You showed them where Mr. O'Keefe was found?
Yes.
Now, turning your attention to, well, one on scene that day with Trooper Proctor and the crash reconstructionist, what, if anything, did you observe them doing?
I believe they were discussing, they were trying to place a drone up in the air, I believe, to map out the area.
Did you see that? Or do you want me to strike the, I believe they were trying to? All right, so that will be stricken, but your observation will remain.
Now, with reference, if I could draw your attention to February 4th of 2022, were you working that day?
I wasn't.
And at some point, did you receive a call in regard to this case, this investigation?
I did.
And who, if anyone, called?
Chief Berkowitz.
And what, if anything, did Chief Berkowitz indicate?
He asked me if I was working. When I told him no, he asked who was.
And who, if anyone, did you indicate to him was working?
I told him Detective Sergeant Lank was working.
And as far as what, if anything, was that call in reference to?
He stated he was driving in the area of 34 Fairview because of the warm weather and the warm rain in the last couple of days.
And what, if anything, did he indicate?
He believed.
Sustain, I'm going to see it side by, please.
And so, just to be clear, Lieutenant, you did not go to Fairview Road on February 4th, 2022.
I did not.
I have nothing further for this one.
All right, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you guys, I can't wait
Good morning.
to listen to AJ cross-examine, but he's got another hour and so of testimony. So I'm gonna wait until tomorrow. Those of you that are here still, what time's good for you guys in the afternoon tomorrow if you want to watch? Like late morning, early afternoon? What's better for everyone? Morning? Jeannie, okay. Like early morning or like late morning? So give me a time frame, like between like 8 and 10 or between 10 and 12, whatever's best for you. Tomorrow afternoon, my husband is taking me shopping. Ooh, I'm jealous. I wish I could come with you. I am free in the AM. Okay, we'll do morning. So like my whole sleep schedule is messed up. I don't work another midnight shift until Sunday night, so I can work around you guys. Whatever is good for Jeannie Lynn. Okay. KVD morning, but not too early. People need that. Not too early. People like, let's see, need their coffee and chat. Oh yeah. I'll be on rewatch. I work. Okay, Annie, no problem, sweetie. Thank you. Yeah, Malin, I'm totally jealous of you going shopping. So I'm thinking maybe we'll do like, does like 10 a.m. sound good? Like 10:30? Oh, that's awesome, Malin. Sounds like fun. Especially getting to buy all the new stuff for it. All right, since you guys said morning, we'll look it up for about 10:30. I'll set it up sometime tonight and post it. I always post it in Discord. If you're not in my Discord or in Rat House Media Discord, let me know. If you want to join my Discord, I did make my own Discord as well. I will post it in there as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow if you can make it. Don't work too hard, Annie. And everybody have a really, really good night. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.